temple. Your tears rinse my feet. I walk out, I'm able to carry your peace. It reminds me of a song that I heard long ago. Maybe I've always known that you were right there. A simple melody playing over and over in my dreams. But somehow out of reach, eluding me until I release. You come close to me when I release, and I let you take the lead when I release. My heart starts to see when I release. When I release, you said, come to my garden, eat from my tree, step in my river, let it take you deep. Your heart is my temple, your tears rinse my feet. You walk out, you're able to carry my peace. It's an ancient sound heard from the ones who came before. Now it's here once more to pierce your soul. A simple melody playing over and over in your streets, like a whirlwind turning things, tearing down the dark. That's where I release, and my heart starts to sing when I release. I let you take the lead when I release. You come close to me when I release. When I release, it's all in your feelings. It's all how I receive your sound. All in your feelings, your emotions, they find me out. It's all in your feelings. It's all how I receive your sound. All in your feelings, your emotions, they find me out. When I let it go, when I let it go, when I let it go, I let it all go now. I let it go, hey, now I let it go, I let it go, I let it all go now.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? We are live on a Tuesday night like we always do. Thank you for watching. Hey, if you're in here right now, hit that like button, share this video, let people know that we're live and we're about to talk about some real stuff. Listen, the protests are ramping up out there. Biden was on Howard Stern talking crazy. What else is going on? We got Russell Brand getting baptized. We got a bunch of people you know, it's a lot of stuff going on. We're going to talk about it. You're watching Young Lion TV.
Young lion, everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, won't you get up and start fighting? Everywhere I look, they're hiding.
That's right, Young Lion TV, like we do every Tuesday night when we go live and we talk about things from our perspective, which is just a group of friends, brothers, sons, husbands that have been through a lot of things, seen a lot of things, traveled around the world, and learned a lot. And we like to discuss those things and some of the mistakes that we made, how we can grow from those things, and how we can help others not make the mistakes that we make. So that's what this podcast is about. If that's something that you can get with, make sure you hit that like button and share this video, because the algorithm does not like what we talk about, and we need all the help that we can get. So without further ado, I got with me the coolest Asian in the world. He is our brother, and he is newly married.
Yeah.
Shout out to, I know wifey is watching right now, Mr. Chang Samoon.
Chang some I gotta say with the
Chang Samoon. That's the And of course, I got my big brother, but he's everybody. I like the merch y'all rocking right now. The Grateful hat, the Young Lion shirt. Jake got the Young Lion hat matching. He's my big brother, but he's everybody's big brother, and he's the preacher, the teacher, the people reacher, Mr. Jacob Eugene Evans the third.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Can y'all talk about how short his shorts are?
Somebody talk about how
You
short.
can see
Hey,
his
man.
you can see his legs too.
But they're not. You got a little more leg. than
Yeah,
yours. Come
yeah,
on.
that's true.
Come on.
Yours are actually shorter
on.
still,
Pull it
and
down.
yours
Let
got
me-
rips in them.
Let me pull it down.
Got the nerve to have short shorts and
And
then
rips.
have rips. Yeah. And I am, of course, the navigator of these streaming waters, the one pulling up the clips and everything, Jamie Evans. I am, of course, every light-skinned person with a beard / white guy, celebrity that you know, or a family member that you may have.
Who
That's
isn't
me.
necessarily white.
Yeah, who isn't necessarily white, but could be racially ambiguous. Red guy. Yeah, that's me. And of course, we got the best producer in the world. She's over there holding it down. She's our mother, and we love her. And she's the best producer because she produced us. She is Miss Angeli Lopez. What'd you say?
I'm proud of it.
Yeah, thank
Proud
you,
of
Mom.
producing you guys.
Thank you,
It's
Mom.
funny too, like, cause how mixed we are, and you never know what you're gonna get, right?
Yeah.
And my son is like the whitest,
Yep.
the whitest kid. He's got no color. But I'm like,
The youngest one.
I said, I said to Leslie, I was like, all your white genes got together, and all my white genes
Yeah.
got together.
It said we're gonna exclude. They was like the protesters blocking out all the Israelis at the college campuses. They're like, "You shall not pass" to all the black genes.
The funny thing is, my brother saw the pictures and he said, "Who's that little white kid?" I said, "That's Jake's kid."
Yeah.
He said, "I thought that was Jamie's kid."
That's funny. Yeah, and my kids are they don't even look like siblings. They're like me and you. How many people don't think we look like brothers? My two don't look like sisters.
But they look like you guys.
They look like us,
Yeah.
but they don't look
They don't look like
like
each other.
like each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, like your kids, at least you could tell they're siblings. Like
Yeah.
you got one white one and one like browner one.
Yeah.
Well,
well, you can tell in accordance of them all together.
Yeah, I'm saying like if you see them all together, you're like, okay, they look
Right.
like siblings.
But if
Yeah.
you take one out, it's kind of like if you take Jakey out and you have just Layla and Lucas, it's a little.
Yeah.
it
Dude.
is a little.
That's y'all family though.
Yeah.
That's you guys. I always said that about you guys.
Yeah.
Because I don't think, I know y'all family. I've seen pictures of your grandmom
Yeah.
and you look
Yeah.
like your dad.
Yeah.
If you don't know your family, you
Like-
just think y'all friends.
Well, people always think that my mom cheated. That's what they say. My mom lied, and
Never
you know,
cheated in my life.
I'm the mailman's baby. But
You never
yeah,
cheated
but
on
then,
a test or anything?
No, never. Never.
My mom is not.
I was a
My mom
very
is
honorable-
very
I was
straight
an
shooter.
A honor roll student from the time I was in first grade all the way till I was in 12th.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'd say the same for myself.
I cheated on a few tests myself.
genetics are weird that way. Shout out to Emma. He said, "Greetings, guys." Emma is one of our original Patreon members and our brother from soccer. Shout out to him for always tuning in and watching. Hey, if you guys are in the chat right now, make sure you hit the like button like we said before. And yeah, share the video, drop a comment in, let us know you're watching. Shout out to Stan, one of our Young Lion members who hasn't been here in a while, but I know he's probably watching on Rumble. If you're over there on Rumble, make sure you guys hit that Rumble up button or like button, whatever they call it over there, and drop a comment in. Help us out over there too.
Dude had one more child and life just became too real for him.
That happened when
That
he
happened
had
with
the first
Stanley.
one. When he had Stan.
Do you remember we used to work out
Yes.
midnight after the studio?
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes 1 a.m.
Yeah.
and then we'd stay out there till 3 a.m.
Just talking.
Just talking.
That was the podcast.
Yeah, that was the original podcast. Was outside of the
Podcast
gym
before the podcast.
in the parking lot of the Planet Fitness in Clementon, New Jersey.
Yep. Sometimes we end up at Denny's.
But then as soon as Stanley was born, that all ended right away. Yeah, so shout out to Stan, aka the Black Batman. He's he'll be back soon, he told me. And then shout out to our other brother, the most confusing man in the podcast world, Mr. James Garcia. He's busy tonight. Oh no, he said he was under the weather. Yeah,
Wasn't feeling good.
Yeah. Shout out to him,
Say
man.
hi to Warnita. Hi.
What's up, Warrenita? Thank you for
Warrenita.
joining in. Make sure you guys share the video again. Also, if you want to support the cause and help fund this operation that we're trying to keep growing. We're trying to grow the pride of the Young Lions for those that are like-minded and appreciate what we do and want to be a part of it. We do have a Patreon that you can go ahead and join. The Patreon is patreon.com/youngliontv, where you can go on there and sign up to become a member. We have a bunch of different tiers on there. Shout out to all of our Lion King level members that are the highest tier. We have a few of those. We appreciate y'all very much. Shout out to Jeffrey. I think Courtney is a Lion King level. A couple other. My mom is a Lion King
Thank you.
level. I gotta give you credit. I always forget because my mom is a different. She's a special case because my mom's very cheap, right? But she
not
wants to.
cheap.
No, listen. Hear me out. Hear me out in a good way.
Okay.
Very cheap, but like frugal, right? So she
Yeah,
wants
I was
to.
gonna
She
use
wants
that
to
word.
support us in everything that we do, but Patreon has too many fees and things like that. So she was like, "I'll just send you the $50 via Cash App every month." So she does pay $50 every month
Thank you for
but she
saying
doesn't do it through
And you
Patreon.
don't have to, Mom, because you're supporting us
You don't have to.
By being here.
by
Yeah.
just being
But
here.
I want
right?
to.
No, and that's why we love you because you.
Thank you.
That's why when I say you're cheap, I mean you try to save everywhere you
cheap.
can.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna
Yes.
get you a T-shirt. You gotta tell me what T-shirt you want.
No.
But
Yeah.
I want to. Didn't
Yeah.
you just say that?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
And somebody just sent some stars. Oh, Warrenita. Shout out to Warrenita sent some stars.
Hey, thank you.
Appreciate y'all.
Hey.
Also, if you want to get the merch that you see everybody wearing, I got the new Grateful merch that I'm wearing right now. That's on our website. If you go over to jatan.com/shop, you can see this is the designs for the new song that we just put out, which you can go stream right now. We covered a classic Peter Gabriel song called "In Your Eyes" from the 1980s, and
Nice stuff there.
yeah, thank you, Mom. You know, we got some merch here, and then we got some new Grateful merch up there too.
How much are the shirts, Mom?
I actually got this this hoodie right here, and
Yeah, look good.
yeah, it's nice. It's nice. It has the small Grateful on the chest, and then the big Grateful on the back.
Nice.
I got that one.
I want to get some more.
Yeah, but we got the different designs. If you guys want to support, get the merch. We got hats, tees. We got, women's clothes, all kinds of stuff. You can go over there and support what we do by going to jatan.com/shop. And also, I want to mention that we have a show coming up if you guys want to come see us live. Last time it was a great time, great show, great experience over at the City Winery in Philadelphia. We'll be at the Loft in the City Winery in Philadelphia on July 26th. So you can come check us out live over there. We're going to be doing some songs. We're going to drop a brand new song that we have never done live before. Yeah. So everybody who comes, and we'll be doing some classics that we haven't done in a long time.
Chiton classics.
So if you guys come out, you'll catch a really dope show on July 26th.
How old is this shirt?
That shirt? Mm-hmm. Which one is that?
The Young Lion, black.
Oh,
that's pretty old.
That is the original.
Ashley's stepmom actually made that for us.
Oh.
Yeah, that's before we had the print on demand site set up, so we had physical shirts made. Yeah, that was the original design right there.
I like the colors.
Yeah, it's nice. Now everything is kind of more, we have it branded a little bit more, where we have the certain logo and the look that we're going for. So, yeah, like that towel you guys have behind you on the chair there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, do that again.
Oh, let me take this down.
Okay.
There you go.
Yellow, I like the yellow. Black and yellow. Oh, yeah, I'm wearing it. It's the same thing.
Yep. Yeah.
That's right.
But yeah, other than that, again, guys, like the video, share the video. That's the easiest thing. A like is free and a share is free. You can hit the share button and let people know that we're live right now. We're talking about some real stuff. But yeah, so where do y'all want to start? You want to start with these protests that have been ramping up a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
So one of the first things that I want to show is, last week we were talking about the protests and we showed a bunch of videos of and I said it was a lot of LARPing going on where it's just college kids that are bored and trying to pretend like they have a cause that they want to be activists for, but it's really just they're jumping on the trend of what they see everybody doing or what TikTok tells them is the cause of the day. Because when you see them out there, really what they're asking for, it makes no sense. And the things that they're saying, this is the people's land now. And, we're going to set up a people's library. And it's it just sounds like you guys are using this as an excuse to continue to push communism and socialist policies. This is what they do. But this video kind of went viral because this was at NYU. So we showed the Columbia protests, but protests have been popping up at all these universities, of course, because they all follow each other. These kids are bored, obviously, and they're very entitled, spoiled kids. So this clip went viral because they were interviewing a couple of the protesters and asking them so what do you want the university to do? Let's see what their answer is.
And what would you say is the main goal with tonight's protest?
I think the goal is just showing our support for Palestine and demanding that NYU stops. I honestly don't know all of what NYU's doing.
Is there something that NYU's doing?
I really don't know. I'm pretty sure they're... Do you know what NYU's doing? About what? About Israel. Why are we protesting here?
Palestine will be free!
I wish I was more educated. I'm not either.
Y'all are just out here.
I was there up at Columbia and we came down. They said NYU students needed our support. So I came down. I heard there's lots of cops. Some people were saying it was getting dangerous.
And what?
Yeah, so...
Wow.
They have no idea what they're even protesting for. It's just, like she said, we were at Columbia. They don't even go there. And this is the other thing that people are pointing out, that most of the people, and in fact, they were showing the mugshots of all the people that got arrested. Let me see, I have a photo of that. Oh, this is yeah. So these are the people that were getting arrested.
Oh.
I mean,
they all look like, I'm sorry.
They look like communists. They look like communists, right?
Socialists.
But none of them are students at the school.
Yeah, of course.
And another thing that they're realizing is that, let me see. I'll see if I can pull it up here.
Just like those BLM rioters, none of them lived in the city.
Yeah, none of them lived in the city at all. And
so you're saying they're paid?
That's what I'm getting to right here. So someone did a breakdown of the video because they did find out that there is a actual fund funding them to protest at these colleges. And who do you think is the person's name that is attached to the funding for the
Jorge
Sorosio. Emperor Palpatine, if you will. But yeah, this is a video
Darth
about
Sidious.
Have you
Yeah.
noticed that all of these Hamas encampments on universities all kind of look the same? Talking the same tents, same signage. I was at one of these protests recently and they didn't even remember the words to their little rhyme. So they were just reading off their phone. And I'm just going to say, the same looking people, you can always tell an activist from a regular person. The reason that all of these events look the same, they are being funded by the USCPR, the U.S. Campaign for Palestinian Rights. Who knew? And it's funded by everyone's favorite guy, George Soros. His organization actually pays what they call fellows who start protests on campus. You gotta love capitalism, am I right? They like the socialism thing. They don't want to get money's bad, America, the worst. But here we are, capitalism. This organization pays up to $7,800 to community-based fellows. And then for campus-based fellows, they get somewhere between $2,880 to $3,660. Very specific. Who wouldn't want to sign up for that type of money in Joe Biden's economy? That's probably why these crowds are so massive. They mobilize so fast. Have all these tent cities
that's exactly
across the country
Dude,
as it is. And then
that's
you have
mad
these
money.
universities embedded in these cities. And then you get paid if you just like show up and chant a little bit. You don't even have to memorize the rhyme. The math adds up here. And sometimes I see that they have like snacks and water to give out for free. I'd rather be poor with morals, but I can't speak for everyone else. But I do think I'm going to start calling what we're seeing here with these protests and riots as the tent city politics, population Democrats.
Now, we showed in the past how what was George Soros's history? What was his backstory? Do you remember this backstory from when he grew up in Hungary?
Yeah, he was selling his people out.
He got paid money by the Nazis to sell out where the Jews were.
Yeah,
right.
And as a child,
and they interviewed him in the 1990s on 60 Minutes about this, and he said he didn't feel bad about it at all.
Mm-hmm.
And now he is funding protesters against Israel that are openly. We showed it last week how they're openly saying we are Hamas. They're saying we support your rockets, we support your bombs. What was the other thing they were saying? They're basically talking about slaughtering people in their chants. You know,
Yeah,
this
from the
being
river to the sea.
because it's not real to them.
Yeah,
And they're getting paid.
right. They're getting
So
paid to be there.
That's what's real to them.
And why are they getting paid? Because it's a disruption.
Yeah.
Just like the George Floyd riots. We saw this in the 2020, which was another election year, right? The George Floyd riots were all, we were pointing this out on the podcast about how all of the signage was the same and looked professionally done.
Yeah.
We were talking about how there was pallets of bricks placed everywhere. Who did that? Who funded that?
Which ramped up and started around the same time.
Around the same time. Yep.
Which, if in the same election year.
Yeah.
Right? Not the same, but I mean, it was 4 years ago, the presidential election.
Yep. Exactly.
How much money they got, dude? That's a lot of money.
Well,
That's a lot of people.
no one
at
knows how
these-
much money Soros has. So this is another person pointing out how all of these tents look exactly the same in all of these different places. Like they're literally the same exact tent
Well, yeah.
in these encampments that are just these are just popping up, you know, organically because people care so much about this. You know, we're supposed to be led to believe that. Meanwhile, like I said about LARPing, so we had this girl who didn't know why they were protesting, and then we had this girl. This is at Columbia, and listen to what she's saying they are entitled to by the university.
Should the university be obligated to provide food to people who've taken over a building?
Well, first of all, we're saying that they're obligated to provide food to students who pay for a meal plan here.
But you mentioned that there was a request that food and water be brought in, unless I misunderstood.
To allow it to be brought in, I mean, well, I guess it's ultimately a question of what kind of community and obligation Columbia feels it has to its students. Do you want students to die of dehydration and starvation or get severely ill, even if they disagree with you? If the answer is no, then you should allow basic, I mean, it's crazy to say because we're on an Ivy League campus, but this is like basic humanitarian aid we're asking for. Like, could people please have a glass of water?
but they put them.
Dude.
But you guys
can't
are
make
protesting.
this stuff up.
This is crazy.
Like, we're organizing. We're starting a revolution. We're showing them we're serious. Also, can you please feed us and give us water? Because we don't know how to do things like adults. like it's so hilarious.
Yeah,
I ain't think these things through.
They don't think them through.
It shows the ignorance, the lack of preparation.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna do this thing. Oh wait, we didn't account for this.
Yeah, you didn't account for those
It's
things.
their fault.
It's their fault. You owe us. You have to give us these things.
Let's blame it on them.
Hold on. This is another video of protesters demanding supplies.
Protesters aren't being treated well.
What people don't understand is that protesting is really, really hard. We can't be expected to fight for causes without tasty snacks being supplied to us regularly.
You believe the government should
That's
be feeding
overdub,
you.
No, it is. That was a joke. That was a joke. But that's basically
I
what
thought it was real at first. I was like,
that's basically what they're saying. Like, hey, we remember the Chaz or the Chop in Seattle that they set up. Remember they were gonna take that. It was an autonomous zone, and they were gonna feed everyone with this garden that they were gonna grow. Remember the garden?
yeah, the garden was.
It's like they didn't know how to do anything. They didn't know how to grow plants or anything. So yeah, this is the LARPing that is going on, but it always escalates. So things were starting to get out of hand because what do you think happens? People get paid to be there, but then people get paid to ramp it up and agitate the situation, right? Just like we saw, remember the Umbrella Man at the George Floyd riots that just showed up and people filmed him and he just starts breaking windows and then just leaves. And then everyone else loots and goes in the building and steals everything. But it always takes that one catalyst that's just going to break a window. Because everyone really is there to just kind of protest at first, but you see it. There's those few provocateurs that will just. We saw videos of people handing bricks to people and getting caught and telling them, "Hey, what are you doing? We're not here for that."
Yep.
But this is what was going on with the protest. Oh, let's show it again. Don't they look kind of like the same people?
Yeah. All black, masked up.
Yeah, those guys look like they really care about Palestinians.
Yeah.
I truly believe that they are there to fight for the rights of the Palestinian people. But see, what they do is they do that to then get the police to ramp up so that they start pepper spraying and arresting people so then they can get the images of that plastered all over the news because you get all these stories about police using... The stories then just become the police are attacking helpless college students with abuse of force or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we get this narrative to float around on the news and on the internet and everything.
There's a difference between protest and what's illegal.
Yeah.
This isn't protest. It's illegal, especially the campuses. They're not public.
Right.
So you can't enforce the law.
Right.
Yeah. So you're seeing the weakness of these people who are even at the head of these administrations or these universities, these colleges.
The other thing you see is the politicians that are so quick to denounce this protest, but they had nothing to say all through the George Floyd stuff. They had nothing to say about that. They had nothing to say when people were burning down businesses. They was just mostly peaceful. That's all we kept hearing. Then you had people like Mike Johnson go down to Columbia and speak in front of everybody saying that this can't happen. You know what I mean? Like you got Greg Abbott sending the police in right away. They didn't do none of that. It's like all of a sudden you're about law and order.
Yeah.
When they want it to be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's such an interesting situation with these protests. And then you had some clips from Patrick Bet-David's podcast where he was talking about it, right? Let me see if I can find those. Yeah, I got them right here. Okay.
This is a student that goes to UCLA, and they're simply not letting them go to class. Okay, Rob, if you can play this. Okay, so this is the kind of stuff that is starting to get a little old, and it's getting annoying where parents and students are sitting there. Watch this here. Watch this kid, and see if he sounds like a reasonable kid. Go for it.
The entrance. We are UCLA students. I have my ID right here. I'm being blocked off, not by the security guard, but by you two. You three. Oh, look, they're making their burger while I'm going this way. Excuse me. This is what they do. Everybody, look at this. Look at this. I'm a UCLA student. I deserve to go here. We pay tuition. This is our school. And they're not letting me walk in. My class is over there. I want to use that entrance. Well, I can't take it. Will you let me go in?
This is okay to happen.
This could be over in a second. Just let me and my friends.
This is okay.
Go
Yeah,
we're the cops. We're the police.
It's funny how they believe in borders all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I'm so worried about getting involved.
Will you move?
But they're not even real.
Yeah.
They made them up.
Yeah.
So it's their rules.
Yep.
Watch this.
Okay, we're going. We're going. I'm going in. I have my hands up. I'm not hurting them. You guys have closed the entrance.
So this is what UCLA. And I look at this other guy. It's like, okay, you want to do this? No problem. Let's have some fun. So watch what these guys are doing. Okay. Obviously they're trolling and they're having fun with this. Look at this, 4:30 in the morning. These guys are sleeping on UCLA campuses. The anti, whatever Israel demonstrate. Watch this here.
Hey, this is not a test. This is rock and roll. Time to rock it from the Delta to the DMZ. Does that sound like an Elvis?
Shout out to Robin Williams.
Watch.
Wake up, commies! Wake up! Wake up!
Can you imagine? I want to play another clip for you, old school.
So he was trolling them.
They were sleeping out in the tents? Is that what he was
they're all
playing?
out there in the tents.
Okay, tell me if you like this guy's approach. This guy used to be a president. Some people love him. At one point, I think he won 49 out of 50 states. Look at the approach he took with protesters and tell me how many similarities you see with him and our current president, Mr. Joseph Biden. Here's a guy named Ronald Reagan.
Is Ronald Reagan, where is he at?
Well, you have to see this.
Okay.
This is highlights.
Okay.
It's like the highlight reel of Ronald Reagan dealing with protesters.
I would like to propose that the issue is that on the campuses, you who are adults, you who are entrusted with those young people and their guidance, have a responsibility to make it plain to them from the very beginning that you yourselves do not tolerate the kind of conduct that has led to the burning of Wheeler Hall, that has led to 2 murders on the campus of UCLA.
You created an atmosphere on campus where no one wants to listen.
You are a liar.
I have read and I have been questioned since I've been here about certain demonstrations against my coming. And I would like to say just one thing, and to those who demonstrate so. I wonder if they have ever asked themselves that if they should have the kind of government they apparently seek, no one would ever be able to do what they're doing again.
And I have a feeling that if you check closely on some of the more militant of those leaders who are advocating violence, you will find that if you settle whatever issue it is that has them worked up today, they'll be back tomorrow morning with another issue. But I think the time has come for them to make a choice and to decide whether they want to continue to even tolerate these false prophets in their midst who are, if anything, destroying their own community.
Notice you did not get bored for a single second. You know why? Because everybody loves strong leadership. There's a reason why when this guy got elected and is given a speech on January 20th, I believe 81, whatever the date is, minutes before that, a man named Khomeini released 52 American hostages because they knew what this guy was capable of doing. America is desperately in need of a strong leader. Desperately. Let that be a lesson when you're watching this in universities and campuses. Since when have these deans not had the backbone to say, get the hell off the campus? Since when have these deans not had the backbone to call the cops and say, these guys are breaking the law, arrest these guys? What are you doing? Get the hell out of here. Go find a place to live. You don't want to be here? Get the hell out of the school. You don't want to go to UCLA? Go somewhere else. Go to a public school. Go to a community college. Since when do these leaders, soft leaders, sit around accepting these kids walking around as if they own this place? Life doesn't work that way.
Boomers, man.
Soft, man.
Boomers.
Soft. I see it in so many areas of life. People don't want to deal with stuff. People just want to be left alone. They just want. They don't want to deal with responsibility.
Conflict, responsibility. Yeah.
I was thinking about something today. Like when you really love somebody, you take responsibility for things that most people won't take responsibility for.
Yeah.
That's what love's about.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is nobody wants to deal with this stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to deal. It's easy to just discount people.
Yeah.
And just, oh, they're this or they're that. You know, but nobody wants to deal with anything.
it's amazing to me that like you see this ideology keep popping up every so often. Like you see Reagan was dealing with that back in the late 70s and into when he got elected, and all of that came out of the like free love, protesting the wars and all of these things. But it was feminism, but they're all, I feel like they're all veiled ways to push communism. Like this is what whoever is funding it really wants to push that. And really wants to push government authoritarianism, control over everything. And they use these little causes like the Palestinians, like, the George Floyd riot, Black Lives Matter, whatever. They use these things.
Vietnam War.
Well, what's at the core of communism?
The guys that
sharing the wealth.
Yeah, everybody get the same stuff.
I think what's at the core of communism is atheism.
Could be.
I think that's like the underlying thing.
I think it's entitlement.
Because you can't have religion. You can't believe in God because you have to trust people. Once you take away God and trusting in God, then you can just trust in people.
Yeah, I think the first thing most communist regimes do is eliminate the ability to have a religion at all. They make it illegal.
Yeah, so because what does God do for us? Like, think about Christianity. What does Jesus say? Love God with all your heart, strength, mind, soul, right? And then love your neighbors as you love yourself.
Right.
So you have to love him first
in
order to love other people. You turn away from God and you disrespect God in a way where you turn things to yourself. Because witchcraft is really just being selfish, right? It's rebellion.
It's trying to manipulate the world to get the outcomes you want, right?
Yeah, so we're just rebelling and we're looking for ways.
Yeah.
How can I win?
How can I control
I'm not
things?
Winning because they're winning over there.
Right.
And they're winning because they're not fair.
Right.
How easy is it for, like, I see this with soccer so much, playing soccer. Like, it's so easy for parents to be like, oh, they're cheating.
Yeah.
They don't even understand the game, right? But yet they can say it because in their mind it makes sense.
Right.
But it doesn't. Oh, that kid just fouled. No, that's in the game. That's in the rules of the game, but you don't understand the rules, so now you call it a foul. This is what people do all the time, like just in life.
Right.
Like, oh, they're cheating. They're doing this. They're doing that. And even if it's true, I tell my kids this all the time. You can't change it,
right?
But you can change your attitude towards it, right? You can be grateful for what you have, right?
Right.
And you can work in that.
Right.
And then you can see the outcome. They might even, okay, the ref might be on their side. What can you do about it?
Yep.
Gonna be mad? We're gonna stop the game? No, we gotta keep playing. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But people want to change the game.
Yeah.
That's what communism is. It's
Right.
like, let's change the game.
Let's do a whole nother game. You ever play with somebody? This is what communism is. You ever play a game with somebody who always tries to bend the rules so it favors them?
Right. Yeah.
Like you'll be making up a game and you always have that person be like, no, you can't do that because, and they make up rules and but only so it favors them. Yeah, that's what I
do when we play frisbee.
Nah. No, I stick to the rules.
No, that's how Jamie is. It is like he does stick to the rules.
Yeah.
Like if we're playing volleyball,
very, very.
No, volleyball. He's always like, that's not in the rules.
Yeah,
yeah. But the frisbee game, we never really
see.
set
He's mad
rules.
because I was making sure he didn't step over the line because that's in the rules. You can't step over the line when you throw.
Bro, you were. I was on your team. You were stepping on the line a lot.
I was stepping on the line, not over the line. But the point. Let's go back to the point.
Yeah,
because we got sidetracked. The point is, if you change the rules, if you're doing something else, it's not the same anymore.
Right.
And the funny part is you still got to deal with stuff just in a different way. It just manifests into different things, right?
Yeah.
It's never going to go away. So
Right.
you never dealt with anything. You just changed it and you feel good because now you feel like you have control of something you actually don't have control of.
Right.
That's why people want to change rules.
Yeah.
Because they feel like they have control if they do this, this, and this. Does that make you feel better now? Like, if I give you this call, you feel better now?
Yeah.
But you still don't have control.
Right.
And to me, that's what communism is.
Yeah.
It's a it's a false sense of control.
Right.
It makes you believe you have control, but you really don't.
It's actually, you have less control in communism.
Well, the fact that people, in the guise of doing good and doing what's right for all people, how many people died under communism and Mao's communism or Stalin's communism?
Yeah.
Millions and millions of people.
Yeah.
I don't think in any other way have more people died than under communism.
Agreed. Yeah. Agreed. But they always make the argument that that's not true communism.
That they always make that argument.
They didn't do it right.
Yeah.
Our way will be better.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's keep playing these clips from PBD.
Independent voters, they're dividing this country. They're doing it in a way that is very weird. I asked a question of this lady yesterday. When we were doing podcast prep, Tom said something yesterday. Tom said the system is what? You said 3 steps, right? I said, Tom, what are they using this crisis for? And you said step number 1 is claim civil unrest, is what you said, okay? So if all of a sudden these protest things going on in universities, by the way, you know when George Floyd happened?
2020.
Same month? You know what month? May 25th of 2020.
Weird.
Can you pull it up real quick? Pull up May 25th of 26th of 20. What is it?
2 months into COVID.
May 26th of 2020.
Right.
So check this out. May 26th of 2020, George Floyd happens. How many months after that is election? 5 months and a week.
Lighting the fuse.
5 months and a week. So what trend? I'm a person that when we're sitting there and monitoring, we have a guy right now, one of our insurance. You're watching this guy saying, when did he start doing bad quality business? When did he get desperate to write this? Then we go to the bottom of it. Shit. Okay. This has been going on for 9 months after this happened. It's not hard to see trends and bad habits that some people pick up because there's a personal crisis going on in your life. So notice here. So they're warming it up in April. They're using college kids. What do you think is going to happen if a student gets shot on the campus and this person becomes the next George Floyd? This person becomes, we are worried of what they're doing to you, and we want to protect you, Vinny, from what they can possibly do to your kids. This is civil unrest. What if they do civil unrest in the 6 states and counties that matter the most? They use martial law to shut things down, and people in certain counties and districts can't get out to vote. You win the election. So check this out. The playbook is very simple. What if they use it today in pro-Palestine, and the enemy is all the people on the opposing side? What if they keep protesting right now and God forbid someone dies? And you know what's crazy? In a dark, deceptive way, that's exactly what they need to use. That's exactly what they need to use to increase the temperature in America. And because of this,
one spark.
And if it happens in specific markets, you were talking about a protesting they're doing. Can you show the clip, Rob, that Vinny's talking about with the Nazis on the U-Haul?
They're what they call the hold on one second.
Yep. They need their new George Floyd. Not to use his name like that. But they need a George Floyd. They want a George Floyd.
So these are, by the way, Patriot Front members being arrested. By the way, this is one. If this doesn't, and then Rob, you have the other one, right? That's them marching. For anybody out there that even has half of a brain, these guys are
claiming to be Nazis.
They're claiming to be Nazis. It's so obvious.
These guys are fits. These guys are fits.
They're all in such great shape.
Yeah, why is it that all Nazis have an average age of 32 and good body mass index?
Khakis, iron, cargo pants. They're fashionable fascists. Look, by the way, as a police, as an officer, and all the cops out there know, you have to unmask these people immediately.
How come they're not unmasked?
Isn't that because you don't want an undercover Fed, an informant, to show his face? They're paying these.
Yeah, why would they all still be masked if they're all being arrested?
And they're standing there. I mean, they're sitting there.
They're sitting there just calmly waiting for the cops aren't even doing anything. They're just standing there like for the photo shoot. Yeah. They're just
able to do this, and you just nailed it. You see them coming up. They're making arrests. They're setting up strategically these people. And then Rob, I sent you a photo for anybody that says the FBI wouldn't do something like this. Wake up. Okay, look at dear Feds.
At least change the uniform.
In every dispute, in every fight, when something gets out of control, our job is to try to lower the temp.
It's not happening.
And not to fall for manipulation. That is my biggest concern, is that people will fall for these traps.
Yeah. But that's what we've been screaming about for years.
Yeah.
It's the manipulation that we keep falling for.
Yeah, I usually don't do this, but I have something from like 2019 right, that I believe God gave me, and it kind of goes to this. You've heard it many times, but this happened. So I got this a year before George Floyd, right, and it's literally what we're talking about, right? I'm not going to read the whole thing, but just so we can get like how God shows us things and gives us. He wants to give us or prepare us beforehand, right?
Right.
And so this is what it says. It says a mob has hot air. How do you defuse a bomb? How do you deflate a balloon? How do you diminish a mob? That's how it starts. Mob rule is the tactic of the day. So that's literally like, this is something that I believe God was showing me, right?
2019, yeah.
And then it says hot air, a controlled environment to bring about the desired reaction, making the controlled substance an asset and also a liability. And that's what happens with these people, right? They don't care about these people.
Right.
They just want to use them. Like a mind-controlled dormant assassin ready to be activated. And that's what happens. All you have to do is give people the right stimuli, right? So that you can program them in the way that you know how they're going to react.
Right.
And that's what's been going on with TikTok, with all these things that you give people, with all the programs via TV, via YouTube, like all the things that people are watching and consuming and what they're desiring.
Yeah.
And so the more they're feeding on these things, the more you know what they're going to want. And the more you're leading them on that path. Right?
Yeah.
So you're setting it up. So again, like a mind-controlled dormant assassin ready to be activated, ready to pop, ready to blow. And this is connected to timing, right? This is all about when they're trying to make it happen. And we see this again. When did it happen? At the right time.
Yeah.
You had an election year. What happened that election year? Oh, COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, I think they showed it, that there was this thing with Nancy Pelosi. She goes on, Donald Trump lost the most jobs, had the worst, like, but she doesn't say,
right, because they expect you to not remember.
Yeah, she doesn't say it happened because of COVID.
Because they shut down. All of the governors decided that they were going to shut down, especially the Democratic run states. Like they were the worst ones that wanted to shut down everything. I wonder why, because then they can then use that as the entire time he was running in 2020. That's all they kept saying is, look what he did to the economy. Look what he did.
And then they try to say Biden. Then she's changed,
created
all these jobs. No, the jobs that were nobody
shut
was going
down
to
were reopening, and they act like those are created jobs.
Right.
Yeah,
that's when you can lie with numbers.
Yeah.
So again, this is the lie, but. In this thing, like there's things in here that says like, how do you diffuse a situation? How do you undo manipulation? Right. This is what people being manipulated. And all this stuff has to do with it's God. Who's the one who can do it? It's God. So we put our trust in God. That's why we pray. Right. This is why we pray. But we also, I said this earlier, we love God and therefore we love others. If we get caught up in this, and this is what PBD was saying, if we get caught up in this and we get pulled into this, because you can get upset, mad, you can see what's going on one side, or you can look from the other side and get manipulated into this, right? And be pulled in and think, I have something to fight for, whatever. But if we can look and see, no,
that's what happened on January 6th.
Right. Either way, like even if you can see it,
right,
and you're yelling and screaming,
right,
you're still being manipulated if you're gonna act like you said. That's what happened on January 6th, right? Literally, that's what happened.
Yeah,
it wasn't even that bad.
Yeah,
but it was. They got it bad enough.
They got what they needed.
They got what they needed out of it.
That's the funny thing is because all the time, remember we were talking about how like they just kept saying, oh, it's mostly peaceful protests, mostly peaceful, but you could see what they were doing to these cities, what they're doing to businesses. And then even this was during the most heaviest lockdowns during COVID where nobody was allowed to go anywhere. But then we were showing news articles where they were saying like, this is why people protesting for BLM is actually helping COVID. Remember, like they were like the manipulation was so crazy.
Yeah. So I think like it's because a mob is you're being consumed by an internal flame, right? By an internal fire, right? It's rage.
Yeah.
Rage is coming up in you. Why? Because you feel like you've suffered loss. You have to feel like the manipulation is to get you to feel like you suffered loss, like you don't have something, like somebody's taking something from you, like somebody killed something, somebody killed someone, right? This is, when the catalyst was George Floyd, but it was already there, right?
Right.
It's just you needed something for it to blow,
right?
For it to expand or pop, right? When it pops, then things go crazy. And that's what you saw all across the country with all these riots, right? And you saw that on a very small scale with January 6th, which they blew up very big because that was the narrative, right? They wanted to play and they had control over that. So we have to learn, how do we deal with rage? Well, again, rage has to do with losing control, and losing control has to do with loss. So we have it. What do we do with people who are suffering and loss? You have to console them. You have to give them comfort, right?
Right.
You have to love them, even though sometimes it doesn't seem like you need to love them.
Yeah.
Right. Even though it doesn't seem like they deserve it, you love them, and that's what's hard for people to do when they're looking at this in a very factual way.
Yeah.
Right. Facts don't care about your feelings type way. Yeah. Facts don't care about your feelings, but we should.
Right.
We should. Even though feelings might not be valid, you still have to take time and be patient with people to walk them through their feelings. And if you don't have the time to do that, and all you care about is facts, well, then you're good for nothing either. Right? And I think people take prophecy, and that even at that time in 2020, a lot of prophets prophesied Donald Trump being president.
Right.
There was a lot of stuff going on at that time, even with that, where a lot of things fell on their face, right? And I think it exposed that what prophecy is really about. What is it? It's the testimony of Jesus Christ, right? The spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus. So if we're not focused on him, if we're not loving him first, if we're not putting him first, then we're going to pervert. We're going to see things wrong.
Yeah.
If we're not focused on him. Because really, what do prophets are supposed to get you to focus. They focus your attention in the right direction, right? Who has done it for you? Who, like you got that grateful hat on. Why are you grateful?
Yeah.
Who has done these things for you to make you grateful, to appreciate? Who gives you hope in a place where you feel like there is no hope? That's consolation, right? That's actually consoling and comfort. There's hope in Jesus. There's love in Jesus, right? All these things matter, but when we try to give love out of ourselves, we care in the wrong way.
Yeah.
We care in the wrong way. We care out of ourselves, and then love becomes love. Love becomes perverted because love always has to come from its origin, or else it's perverted, right?
Right.
So again, we can't love unless we put God first. We can't love unless we love him first. Unless we turn to love him first is to appreciate him first. Is to be grateful towards him first. Is to recognize him and humble ourselves to him first. So with all this happening, I think it's a call to many believers that you kind of missed it the first time around in 2020, right?
Well, yeah, there was a lot of things that were missed
Yeah.
by the church, by believers,
Well, that's we kind of missed it, right?
Right.
This is a chance for us to redeem ourselves in a way, right? or to allow God to redeem us,
Yes.
right? To where we let him move and we don't step in and try to think we can predict or prophesy, right? What we think is going on, and we're too smart or we know more than what is really happening.
Right.
Yeah, we can see these things, but the problem is the solution has to come from him.
Right. Is all that you see happening is like, and with a lot of those prophecies and all of these things is you get a bunch of people that then move into panic and fear where they're like doing crazy things, like taking all their money out the bank because they feel like the whole economy is going to collapse, or like, I remember during 2020 they kept saying like, oh, you need to just put everything into gold because they're printing all this money in the dollar. Like it was all these things. Like everyone is making all these predictions.
Yeah,
and it was sending people in these frenzies. Like what happened around Y2K.
Y2K.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm saying like even in terms of predictions of like when people say, "Oh, this is what happened. This is what's happening. This is what they're doing," right? That's putting you in a focus. That's focusing you on a point to look at. Look, this is what they're doing.
Yeah,
that's getting you to see one thing when that one thing might be true, but it's not the whole story.
Right.
It's not the solution. Right. And that's just all that does is enrage you, then you missed it. If it doesn't give you hope, if it doesn't give you comfort, something ain't right. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's true that's true prophecy. That's true prediction. And that's the part we can miss a lot. To really put our trust in Jesus.
Right.
To really put our hope in him, to know that he is the hope of our glory, right? Our actual glory. We'll see things, glory or victory, where we'll actually win.
Right.
Not a consolation prize win.
But that's what I mean. Like that's a lot of people got swept up into the idea of like we can figure all this out so that we can prevent the bad thing or whatever their plan is. We can prevent it.
Even the
we can
Q
figure
stuff,
it. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The Q stuff. All these things that they were telling people to do. Buy this certain cryptocurrency and do this, and because get your water because they're gonna crash the economy. They're gonna all these things that we were hearing. I can't even. It was so many. I can't even remember that never happened. That I can't even remember it. Martial law. How many times did we hear they were going to institute martial law? So we were going to have to stock up on things or whatever, pull your money out, whatever. But that was all happening throughout 2020.
Yeah.
And now here we are, 2024, and you're starting to see that. You're starting to see those things happening again, where people are starting to say those things, and we have to be. If you're moved to react because of that, then where is your trust really?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We can't allow those predictions or those prophecies to, like you said, get us so laser focused on trying to prevent anything from happening that we forget to rely on God and trust God to see us through these things. All right, let's keep going with this.
We know a big portion of America is going to fall for it. Some of them are going to fall for it because they need it to vote the way they're going to vote.
Of course.
Right?
Like Russian collusion?
Some of them are going to need it, right?
Yeah.
Well, because it validates why they're making the right decision, right? However, to the 43% that RFK said we have the biggest independent block of voters ever. Tulsi repeated that number when we're sitting down with her last week. To the 43% of people that are independent voters, you cannot be naive. This happened May 26th. Last year was George Floyd. Tensions are high in universities right now. If, God forbid, something happens to a student, and they're able to increase it this time, they will use the Muslim and Jew division in America as the crisis.
I agree.
They will use that
Yes.
division in America as the crisis. And they'll increase the temp, and they'll get people to fall for it, and then they'll try to win the election. They're going to try to do anything and everything to win it, and the independents have to be aware of it.
I hope, pray to God that they do wake up, because let's face the facts, guys. Donald Trump is the front runner. He is the Teflon. Everything that they're doing is not working. They cannot let this man win. And I think you nailed it, Pat. Something's going to, by the way,
like even that, what he's saying, like, wake up to what?
Yeah.
Right? That's my only wake up in your way.
Right.
What you see, what you see, you don't see the whole picture, bro.
Yeah.
That's my only thing.
Yeah.
Like, I respect the dude, but I'm just saying, it's not the whole picture.
It's not the whole picture.
Right?
I mean, that was part of the illusion last time. Was like, when Trump gets elected, everything's going to get fixed.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No. I mean, his end should show you that he don't got it all together.
Right.
Yeah.
The end of his last presidency.
He's not the savior.
No. We have to
wake up to both sides.
Yeah.
Wake up to both sides.
I mean, again, love is taking responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you really love this country, if you really love the people of this country, then take responsibility.
Yeah.
Take responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Do your part. What can you do, right?
I was just about to ask you, what can people do?
What can people do? They can do the simple things. They can love each other.
Yeah.
Right? We can care about one another. It starts there, because it's not like, and when I say that, it sounds so corny, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying
because
is,
these communists will argue that that's what they're doing.
well, yeah, but it's from the, again, obviously but what does love mean, right? What is the definition of love? God is love, right? So even from that standpoint, we can't even understand love without God,
right?
Right. So when I say love each other, we can try to love, but when you're gonna fall, you're gonna make mistakes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's the mindset, like, okay, let me just go out and love somebody.
Yeah.
Let me do something for somebody. Like just yesterday, there was a phone outside. I went to the store, right? Supermarket. There was a phone outside in the somebody left it inside of the cart, right? And I took it and I'm like, let me just grab it just in case they call.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then I left and they called and I was able to give it back to them.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, "Oh, this is my work phone. Thank you so much." Like, she was like, "You're so honest. I can't believe you brought it back to me." And I'm not saying like, I'm just saying that little simple thing, like in effect, like, I'm going to take this because if I leave it here, somebody else might take it.
Right.
Maybe they're not going to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm going to take it. And if she calls, I'm going to bring it to her.
Right.
Just that little thing of like being in that mindset of.
And if we can create that as the standard,
right,
if that can become the culture.
Right.
That's how you change things.
Exactly.
But that's why every time when people ask me what can you do, I always start with, well, it's kind of the Jordan Peterson cliche, but it's like it starts with you getting your mindset right,
mm-hmm,
and then you creating that mindset and that foundation in your household,
mm-hmm,
with you and your family and your kids, and then that spans out to your community with your friend group and your family group, and
mm-hmm,
and continuing that thing to grow, and eventually you see culture change.
Yep.
But if you just think you're going to go to a college campus and protest and affect change that way, you're easily manipulated.
Yeah. What did Jesus say? What's the golden rule?
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But also,
it starts there.
Remove the plank from your eye before you try to remove the speck from others.
Right.
You know
But
what I mean?
simply like if you will just do to others as you wanted to
be done to you.
done to you,
Right.
like even to that measure, because you might not think that much of yourself, right? But even if you do it to the measure that you see yourself would want for yourself,
yeah,
that's honorable.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then it grows.
Righteous.
Yeah. It grows though.
Right.
Like we're not responsible to do some amazing things. You don't just get there.
That's what I'm saying.
You work through
that's
that.
when it feels insurmountable.
Yeah.
When you say like, well, what can we do? I mean, it's all pointless. But I heard Crystal and Sagar debating about these protests, and Sagar was just saying like, it's pointless to do this because this isn't how you change things, blah 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 blah. And she was saying, so what do? We just don't do nothing? That sounds very nihilistic, And it's like, I mean, if you focus in on how can I be a better person,
mm-hmm,
that's where it starts. That's where you start. Clean your room.
Yeah.
Clean your room.
Yeah. Everybody wants to be great.
Yeah.
But it's funny how Jesus says, if you want to be great, be like a child.
Yeah.
Be like a child.
Yeah.
Humble yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you want to be great, be a servant to all.
Yeah. Right.
See what I mean? It's
Yeah.
literally the opposite.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be great. I want to do something great. Just serve somebody.
Yep.
Care for somebody. You're not caring for somebody because you're telling somebody, oh, you're a Jew, you can't go here.
Right.
Because Palestinians are being, no. That is not being, and then you look like you're virtuous in the eyes of the people you want to impress.
You're standing up for what's right.
Yeah, no, that is not how you love people.
Yeah.
And that's partial.
Mm-hmm.
That's putting was that Ukrainian flag on your profile picture?
Yeah, yeah. Or
and
what was
blacking out
the
your
black square.
Black square.
Remember the black square?
Yeah, yeah.
That was so annoying.
Yeah, and it's annoying because you don't care about everybody. You care about what everybody cares about.
Yeah,
and that's different, right?
Yep.
That's totally different.
That was the video that Jamie showed in the beginning.
Yeah,
the girl. What did NYU do?
Why are we protesting?
Why are we here again?
Do you know? The girl's like, I wish I was more educated. I know, me too. I wish I was.
From what river and what sea?
Yeah, right. How many videos of those?
From Mississippi River.
Yeah.
Like let's look at it and say, well, what do you mean when you say that?
Yeah.
Like, because then you start to really think about things, right? You're not thinking about stuff because you really don't care.
Yeah.
You just want to act like you care.
Right.
When you actually go to care about people, well, then you can say, you know what, let me hear your story. Let me hear, why do you feel that way? And they might be dead wrong, but at least you can see where they're coming from. When you don't care about people, then facts don't care about your feelings.
Yeah.
And statistics can be manipulated
in a million ways. How to Lie with Statistics.
Yeah.
It's a book that they worship like the Bible.
Right. So the facts ain't always facts.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's one
This is
more
why
video here.
The Free Palestine movement is the new BLM. In 2016, it was the Me Too movement. In 2020, it was BLM and George Floyd. In 2024, it's Gays for Gaza. And the Free Palestine movement has been hijacked by left-wing dark money and extreme far-right Islamic right money. It is what it is. So who's falling victim, who's falling prey to what's going on right now? Well, it's Gen Z. Gen Z is the most confused, indoctrinated generation of all time. They were the only generation in the history of this world that was born to a social media phone in their hand. This is the TikTok generation. That is the literal nickname of Gen Z. So you see these protests at Cornell, at Columbia, at Texas, Minnesota, GW, Emory. These are all 18 to 24-year-old kids. Now, all these kids have been faced with two things. They started college during COVID, and they're ending college during this election cycle.
Hold up. Isn't this interesting? You know, all these places, right? You can think about all the elite schools. Supposed to be the smartest kids, but they're actually the most foolish.
Right.
That's interesting, right?
Yep.
Because of indoctrination.
They're the most indoctrinated kids.
They've been indoctrinated. They have no mind of their own. They've been completely brainwashed by TikTok. Now, they say that when you're young, if you're not a liberal, you have no heart. If you're older and you have no brain, if you have no brain, if you're not a conservative, you have no brain. They doing what they
like that.
Yeah, I've heard that many times.
Yeah.
But it's true. It
that's-
is true. Like naturally, once you have, because when you're young, you have nothing to conserve. You want things.
Yeah.
So you're so used to everything being done for you that you think you want it. You don't want that to change. Why do I want to conserve things? No, give me things.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
But then once you get older and you own a home, you have a car, you have a career,
but then
you have
can
a
be
family.
afraid to lose them.
Right.
Yeah.
So that can be controlled as well.
Yeah.
they feel is right. But we all know that facts don't care about your feelings. There's something called the horseshoe theory, where the far right and the far left politically are not as far or as extreme as you would think. They're actually closer in theory. So the far right, this is if you want like Gays for Gaza. What?
Yeah.
In Israel, is a deep and vibrant gay community. I went there, I was like, wow. But in Gaza, or in many extreme communities, they will literally kill you.
By the way, you know what's crazy? You're saying this. this validates exactly what Reagan said. What you're protesting for would prevent you, if a country becomes the country you want it to be, would prevent you from being able to protest in the future.
Right.
You can't go do Gays for Gaza in Gaza.
In Gaza.
You know what they're going to do to you?
They'll throw you off the roof, they'll behead you, they'll stone you.
What you thought that man did to that boy at the Snookers tournament, they're going to do to you with all those fruits in ways that you will have nightmare for the rest of your life. Anyways.
Or just drop you off a building.
Yeah.
This is why these people are useful idiots, and this comes back down to Biden. Do you see the approval rating of amongst Gen Z to Biden, young people?
What is it?
80% disapprove. There it is right there. 81% disapprove of this particular thing. So, you know, in the Bible, they say no one can serve two masters.
Yeah.
This is what Biden's problem is right now.
Yeah.
He's funding
That's why
Israel.
he's trying to he's trying to adjust on it and shift a little bit now, because of that big 81%. But that shows you how indoctrinated the youth is on that idea.
Yeah.
So trying to
But this is why, again, it's a consumer generation, right?
Yeah.
Which, even with the colleges, like,
Yeah.
the colleges pander to the kids. It's not in everything. Music, which we're gonna get into, movies, all these things. They're trying to pander to kids instead of upholding values, right?
Yep.
And teaching
Yeah.
children.
Yeah.
They're not doing that. They're just pandering. And to be honest with you, but who's in charge? Dude, when we were young, we were in, this is what, like 15 years ago, probably?
When are you talking about here?
I'm talking about when we were in meetings.
Okay.
Right?
In the record labels.
And they're trying to tell us what we need to be doing.
What is the one thing that you would hear more than anything? The biggest consumers of music are 13-year-old girls.
Right.
You need to be marketing to them.
And when we would combat that, like, that's backwards.
Right.
Why
are we trying to conform to what they want instead of creating what they should want?
Yeah. And they look at us like we're crazy.
Why are we letting them dictate what good music is? Like that.
But these are the gatekeepers.
Sense. Yeah.
These are the gatekeepers of the music industry.
Yeah.
That we're meeting with, and we don't want to be a part of it, of that, right? Because this is because they want something that is foolish.
Right.
And then you see later on in life, you now think about that back then. Now all those ones that were 13, right? At that age, they're the ones in their 20s, right now,
right,
or late 20s, right?
And then they're the ones making the decisions now. Then they become the gatekeepers. Hold on, I want to show y'all this because this goes right along with what you were saying. I saw this clip and I was like, yo, I got to play this on the podcast because we all remember this. Well, maybe you don't, but this was such a huge story back in the day.
Who's you? Me?
You. But this was such a huge, you know the story, but I'm saying maybe you don't remember it as a kid, but it's the Milli Vanilli story.
Oh, yeah.
So think about that. They all handpicked these two dudes, these German models, to pretend to be the artist singing the song. Why? Because they knew it would sell. It was all about just making money.
Right.
That became
look good.
The whole point of it. So they created this record around them, had them going around lip singing, and then everybody knows that they got found out when the record skipped or whatever, which still to me is the most nonsensical thing because every artist back then was lip syncing anyway. So I don't understand why they didn't just pretend like they were doing what every other artist did. It's this weird psyop of a situation. But listen to this. Listen to what one of the guys is saying in this interview, talking about how everybody was in on it and everybody knew. And listen to who he mentions.
Oh my! It was like I will describe it like this: you get something, but for that you make a pact with the devil. It was. Did the record company know all along? Clive Davis knew. Mr. Clive Davis knew. He promised us to help to persuade Frank to sing on the record. He promised us. He gave us the word. And you see what he did now.
That you were afraid of. That you were
Yeah. Honestly, for me it's a very sensitive situation now because I upset a lot of people now in the business. I upset big people, I upset powerful people, I upset greedy people. I upset people who don't care about humans. I upset people who don't care about what's with Rob and Fab. We had to do promotion by the Grammy. It was as told from the record industry, from our people. It would be a very bad step if we would give back the Grammy for our personal life. It would be the worst thing in the life what we would do if we would give it back, if we would tell the secret to people. So
first of all, I just want to point out how like no one thought that this was a bad idea. These dudes could barely speak English, and you're gonna set them up as like these American pop star singers that singing this, they're doing this record all over the world. Like, it was like a #1 hit. But you hear what he's saying there.
Yeah.
Because they took the fall for that. One of the dudes killed himself.
Yeah.
Him.
Was it that one? Was it him?
Yeah.
Yeah, like they took the fall for this, and they were made all these promises by Clive Davis directly.
Mm-hmm.
They were basically like coerced into doing this. They didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when they were going to give the Grammy back because they felt bad about it, they told them, no, don't do it.
Was it Arista that we were? Because this is Arista. That was
under Arista?
Yeah. Clive Davis at
that time. He had.
I don't know who was at that time, but he was under Arista.
Yeah, Clive Davis started Arista.
But I'm saying our meeting. Wasn't that Arista?
It might have been.
One,
we met with everyone, dude.
The one where the dude was like talking about Pretty Ricky.
No, that was Virgin.
That was Virgin.
And that was
Okay.
who's that guy who owned that? Wasn't that the guy with the plane in the island?
Yeah. I don't remember his name.
I don't know his name.
Branson, is his name Branson?
Yeah, I think you're right. He killed himself. Yeah.
Yeah.
But along with what you're saying, like
he said they upset a lot of important people.
But when you look at
powerful people,
when the industry, when an industry like the music business becomes about appeasing the consumer in a way like that, where it's not about upholding a standard, it's just about how can we make money, how can we manipulate people into buying into a song, into a record.
Yeah,
you get things like this.
You don't care.
Yeah,
like how many times do we tell the story of like we were doing horrible music and then I see this little girl, you know, the mom's telling me how much this little girl loves our music. She's like 11 years old and it's a sex song and she's talking about how much she loves it and she's smiling as her mom tells me
and singing the lyrics.
And I'm like, I'm sitting there horrified, like not realizing the ramifications of what I put out into the world and recognizing in that moment how responsible I am for this stuff.
Right.
When I didn't think it through. Right. We weren't thinking this stuff through.
Because to us, that's just what you did. It was normal. Like, this is what everybody does.
When you start recognizing it right in your face, like, this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Then it's like,
how can you how can you just close your eyes to that?
Yeah. No, I can't.
Yeah.
You can't. You're affecting kids.
And I remember these guys, they even went so far as to try to like re-record the song themselves, remember? Yeah. And like, I mean, it's just sad. Like, they tried so hard to redeem themselves.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, you're lip singing, to me, it's like you think you can actually do it.
Yeah.
You know? No, it's impossible.
But think about it. How much did they build them up probably and manipulate them into believing that, no, you guys are really good. Like, we're just doing this. We're just doing this because the record's already done. You might as well just go out there and pretend it's yours. You know what I mean? Like, you know how these labels do. You know how these agents, these managers, they move like vultures. They all see dollar signs. It's a leech kind of style industry where everybody's getting a percentage of what you're doing. So...
But it's in everything
right
now. Like,
and it's even like what you were saying with the protesters. Like, you're disposable to them. They don't care about you. We see that with artists all the time. They can always get a new Britney. Look at Britney Spears, Ariana Grande. We were just showing the chick from Nickelodeon, Amanda Bynes. All these people, Demi Lovato. All these people, They're can always get another one.
They don't care about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't care. They just, let's prop them up to knock them down.
Mm-hmm.
They're so drugged and traumatized too.
Yeah.
Dealing with all that. Have you seen Britney's videos?
Of course. They are sad.
I think I saw like the latest one. She looks like she's possessed, dude.
Mm.
Yeah. And it's not just music, it's sports too. Right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of the sports industry.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. Football, basketball.
Yeah. Yeah. It's they're all the the
especially
athletes,
football and basketball.
Yeah, especially.
Baseball, I don't know because I'm not really in that world.
Yeah.
Soccer, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the money.
Yep.
There's no loyalty.
So I want to continue along these lines. I want to go into like a thing that I've been seeing trending this week and over the last week too, is this idea that this is like the first time in history where people don't have it as good as their parents did. They have it worse.
Okay.
And a lot of people are blaming the boomer generation for the moves that they've made financially and just like the selfishness of that generation, even with the way they raise their kids and the way that they approach things. That has created the state of things the way they are now. So I'm going to show a little bit of that. So this is them talking about the idea of people not being able to earn what their parents did.
For the first time in our nation's history, a 30-year-old man or woman isn't doing as well as his or her parents were at 30. That is the social compact breaking down. People aged 30 to 34, 60% of them in 1990 had one child. Now it's 27%. People are opting out of America. They're not optimistic about it. They're not having kids. Young people aren't having sex. They're not meeting. They're not mating. The pool of emotionally and economically viable men shrinks every day.
You have a son in their 30s, Mom? What do you think? What do you think? Your opinion on what he's saying right there. Do you think he has it? When you were in your 30s, do you think you were better off than he is? Okay. I was just getting your opinion on it.
Which lessens household formation.
No. I was gonna let her just live with that answer.
30,
like, okay,
at 30,
you had 2 kids, you had a house, you had 3 kids,
had 3 kids
you
already.
had a house, and
How old were you when you had John
you had a
John?
career.
When you had John John?
So yeah, 30.
Okay,
He's saying
John
30
John
to
is
30.
30, about to be 34.
Right.
Right? Yeah. So think about it.
Yeah.
I guess I'm looking at the struggles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you're only yeah.
Yeah.
I struggled.
Yeah, you struggled, but you still had
Life-wise,
right?
like what things that the goals that you met and reached in your life
by that time
in your life. Yeah, and it is true. Like, how many people do we know in their 30s that don't have kids? 40s even at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that does have an effect of how a lot of them were raised and how a lot of what they, because I've heard so many people say, I don't want kids. I don't want kids. Because they see kids as a burden.
Yep.
But let's keep playing this real quick.
So we have a real issue. Young people are enraged. So it turns every cut, every movement into an opportunistic infection because, quite frankly, they are just pissed off. They look up, they see wealth, exceptional wealth across my generation and people in certain industries, and they are really struggling. Their purchasing power is going down, and the incumbents create artificial scarcity on campus. We take pride in rejecting 90% of our applicants, so the incumbents who already have a degree see their degree go up in value. We get very concerned with housing and traffic once we own a housing. Housing permits are sequestered from young people. Housing prices have gone from $290 to $420 in the last 4 years. So a young person, a house, stocks that I don't own skyrocket in value. Let's have COVID relief and flush the markets and take assets way up, because if 1 million people dying would be bad, it would be tragic if I got less wealthy. And we're doing it on their credit card. Young people have every reason to be enraged, and every issue they see, they look up, they get angry, and they see someone doing better than them. And then every day it is speedballed in their face that they are failing, that they are not doing as well as everyone around them. We have lost the script. Our kids are more anxious and more depressed and more obese and more addicted. And we have made a purposeful decision to let this happen by ensuring that people around this table stay wealthy at the cost of young people.
He makes a good point there, because there's a lot of decisions being made, and a lot of people that are in the Senate and in Congress are of that boomer generation.
Yeah.
And they're making a lot of decisions to make sure that they maintain their wealth and not thinking about how that trickles down and how that translates into the younger generation. Like, people can't buy houses anymore.
Yeah, because it's expensive as heck.
Yeah.
What's the generation before boomers?
Is that the golden age, the golden generation?
Nancy Pelosi's generation?
She might technically be in the boomer generation.
I'm joking.
She's up there. She's in her 80s, right? Yeah. Okay. Mom said, "Don't you lump me in with that."
But bro, I just bought a house. My house, probably 15 years ago, would be maybe half of what I had to pay for it.
Not even 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Because when I bought my house, it was, right now it's twice as much.
Right.
So and that was 5 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I had this conversation with a couple people before. I kind of feel bad for the younger generation, man. They're like, I know people that are renting and they're paying like almost double what my mortgage is.
Yeah.
And they can't, they're like kind of stuck in that place where it's like they can't save.
Yeah.
To buy a house because it's so expensive. They don't have the credit to.
Right. They can't build their credit.
Yeah, they're stuck, just renting.
And a lot of them have exorbitant amount of student loans because they all fell into the go to college, get a degree, and then it'll all work out. So they're, like you said, they're mad. But I was brought this meme up so I can show y'all this. Like, this stuff has been just going all over the internet. This is a picture of look like a high school picture of someone who's in the boomer generation. It says, had it better than his parents and his kids. Also saw this guy breaking it down. Check this out. This is because this goes along with what we were saying.
This.
You saw this?
Yeah.
So watch this.
When you compare the Great Depression to today, this is going to absolutely blow your mind. In 1930, during the Great Depression, the average home in America was $3,900. The average car was $600, and the average monthly rent was $18 or $216 a year, and the average salary was $1,300 for the year. Fast forward to today, it is $436,000 for the average home, $48,000 for the average car, and the average rent is $2,000 a month or $24,000 a year, and we have a $56,000 income for the average American right now. So if you look back to the Great Depression, the house was only 3 times the average salary. Now it is 8 times the average salary. The car was 46% of the salary. The car today is 85% of the salary. And here's the craziest part. The rent was 16% of the average salary. It is now 42% of the average salary.
And what happened at the end there? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that shows you how things have exponentially gotten worse. Mm-hmm. Like, inflation is not it's not even a joke anymore. It's like the way we have devalued money and the worth of money in this country is crazy. I saw Courtney put a message. She said, I'm 38 and I want kids. Yeah. I mean, listen, you're in that boat too. I understand. Thera said, that's crazy. I like the song too. They're coming for the kids 100%. Hello, family. Shout out to Thera. Well, with the transition of sex is not helping. This girl also went viral talking about boomer grandparents of this generation. Now, we don't have this experience because our mom is awesome. And our dad, when he was alive, he was a great grandparent as well.
What's that face?
But here, pull this up, Mom, because this girl went on this rant about her parents.
These boomer grandparents are unbelievable. You're like, hey, you want to come over for your granddaughter's 5th birthday party? Sorry, we can't. We got to take our 7th vacation of the year. Tell you what we can do, though. We'll post a heartfelt Facebook post about how much we love our granddaughter, and we'll use a picture from her 1st birthday party, which was the last time we saw her. Okay, all right. You want to come over before you go on vacation? Sorry, we can't. There's a football game. These boomer grandparents are unbelievable.
Just talking about how that's like a trope on that I was seeing through all these memes. Like they take vacations 100 times a year. They barely want to see they don't want to watch their grandparents. They don't want to babysit.
I mean their grandkids.
Their grandkids, yeah. They don't want to babysit. Yeah. Like I know, Mom. That's why I said not you. I said not you.
You do, but you just take them to see your family.
Yeah. But yeah, it's becoming a crazy trope. And then someone else posted. Hold on, let me see. I gotta find it because it's in a certain spot. Someone posted this about boomers, and you'll remember this, Jake, because this used to be on the commercials all the time. Where is it at? No, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. What happened?
Because you're kind.
No, I'm just saying it's not a vacation.
Wait, stop. Don't skip this video because I've got great news
No,
for
I'm
you
skipping
and your
it.
hair.
I'm skipping
if you
it.
are tired of losing...
Our most signature.
Through the years, there's been confusion over who actually coined the phrase.
You remember
A
this?
woman
called me one day.
Phrase?
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
You remember this?
Yeah, most recognizable.
So someone posted a compilation of all those commercials, and it was all these celebrities that would say it. Like they had to do a whole campaign around "Do you know where your children are?" Like this is how bad boomer parents were. That's what they were saying. Like this is how selfish boomer parents were. Like they had to remind them to think about where their kids were at 10 p.m. every day. I don't know. I
we
can't
were allowed
find
to
the
play
original.
outside.
Yeah, but still, there's a level of just disregard as well that kind of happened throughout those years. Let me see.
You know where your children are?
Yeah, this is it.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Where? Do you know where your children are?
And like when we used to see this as a kid, I always thought it was weird, like that they would have to ask that question.
Yeah, because we were home.
Right, we would be home. But that must have been a problem. Like someone said, we got to do something about all these children being out in the middle of the night.
I was at the Pfeiffer Center.
Yeah, at 10 p.m. At what age?
Pretty young. Middle school, high school.
Yeah. But again, this is what people are pointing out.
My mom worked overnights though.
Right. So you didn't have no one. What about your dad?
My dad would be sleeping.
So you were just a sneaky little taking advantage. That's what you were doing.
That's right.
But yeah, then you get the generation that we're talking about now. Like when you have a whole generation that is seen as that selfish, that like wanting to hoard all the resources and not really thinking about their kids in that way, not wanting to be a part of their grandchildren's lives, this is why they don't want to have kids. This is why they're angry. This is why they feel neglected. This is why they're lashing out in these ways.
Divorce the divorce rate really shot up in the 80s.
That's true.
I remember there were movies about divorce, like What It's Doing to Kids. I remember Dad made us watch a movie.
I don't remember that. No.
Yeah, he made us watch a movie about divorce.
Was it like a documentary?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We got divorced in the 80s.
Yeah.
That's why he made us watch this movie, because he didn't want it to affect us. So,
really?
You don't remember this?
I don't remember
we were
this.
young, but it was at Andy's house.
How old was I?
In the basement.
I had to be like 5 or 6.
Yeah, you were like 5.
Yeah, I probably was not paying attention to this movie.
I was
at that age.
I was bored, but I remember it. Yeah, I'm like, why do I have to sit here and watch this?
He used to make us watch stuff all the time that we didn't want to watch.
Yeah.
My dad used to sit us down to watch documentaries, bro, all the time, at every age.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you get people with this type of entitlement. Ready? I thought this was hilarious.
Oh, us more plus size tips. Have you been dying to fly in an airplane, but you weren't sure if you'd fit? Hey everyone, we're plus size park hoppers, and we range in sizes from 2X to 5X. Make sure you like this video and follow us for more plus size tips and tricks. Flying as a plus size person can cause a lot of anxiety. Between worrying about if the seats are too narrow or if you'll need a seatbelt extender, there's a lot to think about. We've been flying with Southwest for years, mostly because of their amazing customer of size policy. If you think that your body will extend over the arms of the chair, you are able to book an extra seat and you will get refunded for it after your flight. It's super easy to do. You just book as 2 passengers, and for the second one, you put XS in the middle name. This will automatically be recognized as an extra seat in their system. When you get to the airport, you print your boarding pass as you normally would. You will get 2 boarding passes, one for you and one to display on your extra seat. This will let other people know that that seat is reserved. When you book an extra seat, you automatically get pre-board. And this is to ensure that you and your extra seat can sit together. You're also able to bring a friend with you to pre-board, which we think is so nice. We like to ask for our seatbelt extender as we're boarding, and the flight attendants are super nice and discreet about it. The armrests between the 2 seats do come up, so you're able to be more comfortable. We recently flew in their MAX 8 plane, which is super new and very spacious. As a 2X, I did not need a seatbelt extender, and the tray table came all the way down. When your trip is completed, you can call Southwest. And
I'm like, why can't I? That's discrimination.
It is discrimination.
I can't can I get, maybe if I put XS in mine and just pretend, I'm gonna put on a fat suit next time we fly Southwest and see if I can get an extra seat and pre-boarding. Man. Yeah. I mean, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? And then we had things like this. I just want to show this. We had things like this in the 80s. You guys remember this? This is a classic scene from a classic movie right here.
Sexual chocolate. They play so fine, don't you agree? I believe the children are our future. Thank you. Teach them well and let them lead the way.
Okay, so we know what that is a classic scene, but the song, because this was a charity for the children, right?
Give them a sense
of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laugh. Song about the children are our future, right? Here, let's go to the chorus.
People need someone
Okay, that's all we can play without copyright. The greatest love of all. I believe the children are our future, right? Where did we go wrong, man? Where did we go wrong? Because now we get stuff like this.
No matter how old you are. You got that great.
We get stuff like that, man. We get parents with the little baby. And this dude is literally cooking up drugs in front of his little daughter. How do we do it?
That's crazy.
How do we forget the children are our future? Teach them well and let them lead the way.
Because they wasn't believing it back then when they were singing it.
So that song was just a money maker as well.
Yeah, they weren't believing it. Come on, man.
I believed it. When I heard that song, I believed it. I believed it, man. Those videos really broke my heart, man. You know, we've seen some crazy videos with kids, but like that's the culture has got to change. Got to change, man. You cannot ignore that. Like we talk about we're talking about the boomer generation.
The tribe where women judge.
Sorry. Talking about the boomer generation, and those are the things that how did we let this happen?
Mom, can you answer that?
Dude, like, let's take Greatest Love of All.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me pivot.
Okay.
But keep that in mind.
Okay.
Right? Greatest Love of All, the song. So I'm driving through Camden today into Pennsauken. 8 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Right. A little bit before 8. I was talking to Mom. And I drive by a nail salon. There's like 6, 7 people out there waiting for the nail salon to open.
Because that's the priority.
Because that's the priority.
Yeah.
Because people care more about what they look like on the outside than what is actually beautiful on the inside.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what the song, like, it sounds good. You know how many people say it sounds good, but
right.
It's really not. Like Jesus said to the Pharisees, do what they say, don't do what they do.
Right.
Like, listen to them because they are saying the words of Moses, right? But the problem is they're not doing it because they're hypocrites.
Right. Yeah, like Whitney Houston probably did 2 lines of coke before she even recorded that song. I mean, allegedly,
yeah. But that's the problem, right?
Yeah.
We've had. I mean, how many people at that time? Like, think about Whitney Houston. That was like the golden age of the music industry. And how many people were saying "fake it till you make it"?
Yeah.
Right. That was.
How many times did we hear that?
How many times did we hear that?
Yeah.
So there's something to this outward appearance, right? Always looking at the outward.
Yeah.
But not focusing on the inward.
Thank you, Darius, for sending 50 stars. Appreciate you.
So I don't know. To me, that's what we're seeing. We're seeing like a lot of people wanted to look like great parents. A lot of people wanted to look like they had their lives together, right? But really, their own desires outweighed the truth.
Yeah.
And they just cover up the truth.
Right.
So again, it's about the appearance. You look a certain way. And that caught up to a lot of people because then you have kids that grow up and see the hypocrisy and then they want no parts of it. So now you have a rebellious generation.
Yeah.
Right? And if that rebellious generation has kids and they remain rebellious, what do you think the kids are going to be like? They're going to be even worse than their parents. And that's what we got going on today.
Yeah. So the selfishness just multiplied.
Yeah.
Basically. So now instead of them having kids just to have them and neglecting them, they just not having kids. They're like, F them kids.
Yeah.
I want to live my life.
They're taught selfishness, so they act in selfishness.
Why would I want to have kids and mess up my body? Or why would I want to have kids and mess up my lifestyle? I wanted so many things, places I want to go first. I want to see first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We ran into somebody we went to school with that said that.
Did we?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
You should, because you were there.
I know, but I don't remember this. When do we run into someone from
We'll
school?
talk about that later.
Okay.
I don't want to out anybody.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go on to this next topic now. Let's get into the Russell Brand getting baptized. What?
No, I'm just looking at these lyrics like they're BS,
dude. As I was singing it, I was like, "Yo, this is dumb."
Yeah.
Teach them well and let them lead the way.
You want the children to lead the way?
Yeah. We were just talking about how
show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride. They don't have beauty.
Yeah,
like their beauty comes from. It should come from you, or it should come from God, right? All this stuff, like. What is the greatest love of all? Oh, the greatest love of all
is happening to me.
Is learning to love yourself. It's easy to achieve learning to love yourself. It is the greatest love of all.
Yeah.
That's what it say. Like, come on.
We're not bashing Whitney Houston at all.
I mean,
well, she didn't write the song. She didn't write that song.
No.
I don't think Whitney was writing.
It doesn't say. It just says song by Whitney.
But you know they're gonna be like, them dudes is hating.
Nah. Who's
Who's
they? Who's they? Huh? Who's they though?
Did he?
Oh, George Benson.
No. Linda Creed and Michael Macer.
Okay.
I don't know
Linda
who that
Creed
is.
and Michael Macer.
But again, this is BS. This song is BS.
What's the greatest love of all though?
It sounds good.
We know what it is.
Sounds
the
good.
Love of God. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It sounds good, but again, like this is why you need to critique things.
This is like what we were talking about with the Disney melodies. Because it's a beautiful melody, it's a beautiful orchestration and the production. Yeah. I believe the children are our future. Yeah. But the words, the substance of the words, like there's a little bit of like catchy phrases here and there. But when you put it all together and the actual meaning of the song is BS.
Yeah.
And I just thought about that as I was talking about the lyrics.
I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. That sounds conceited to me and sounds like you want to be seen. Right? Like, you know,
if I fail,
if I succeed, at least I've lived as I believe.
As I believe
in my own heart.
Believe in myself.
No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity. Because the greatest. Because the greatest.
Love of all.
Love of all's inside of me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I love myself. Oh man. Let's talk about some real love.
But it's funny though, because every time we talk about these songs and then we actually think about it, they are terrible.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, because sometimes I see lyrics, I'm like, yo, that's cool.
Yeah. Like we talked about In Your Eyes when we did the stream.
There's some good lyrics in songs that you wouldn't think.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. What was the other one we were talking about that day?
I don't know. What were we talking about?
Another 80s song, the one we talk about all the time that has like, when you really look at the lyrics.
I don't know. Jordan brought it up, but I can't think of it right now.
That song, right?
Which one? What is that? I don't know what that was.
I
don't know what that
was. What's the song? Is at the tip of my tongue.
I don't know. But I know there's like Glory of Love. That one is one we talked about before. That's a good one. I am the knight who will fight for your honor.
Now I'm not gonna remember it because that song's gonna be in my head.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
Yeah.
I wish Jordan was here; he would know right away. But yeah, there is some songs that lyrically are like, wow, like that has plethora of meanings.
Is it I want to know what love is.
That's the one. Yeah, I want to know what love is. I want you to show me. Yeah. I want to feel what love is. I know you can show me. Yeah. Like,
that's a good one.
Think about those lyrics.
Yeah, when you put it in the right context.
In the right context, yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I used to love that song.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
It's a great song. But anyway, so speaking of someone who wants to know what love is, he's been on a journey. We've talked about him on here, his journey. And I've been watching him. I've been following him for like a couple years now because I like to watch when I see people like starting to kind of figure out things and you see them starting to come to realizations.
Closer and closer to God.
Yeah, I like
it's that
watching
seeking, man.
Yes.
You seek the truth, you're going to find him.
And this is a guy who, we grew up watching him as like the goofy guy on movies, and he was, I remember he went through his bout of addiction with everything, sex addiction, and he was married to Katy Perry and all of that. And then you saw him go on this journey where he was just hungry for like spirituality and something deeper. And of course, it always starts out, especially with these Hollywood types, it always starts out very new age, very like esoteric and all of these things. But there's always a chance that they can find the truth, you know, and it seems like he's still on that path.
Yeah.
But this is him. This is the video you sent. I actually had this video so many times I was going to play it on the podcast, but I never could find a moment. So now we have it where he was talking about coming to Christ.
I'm really interested to know what you think. With a constant, incessant, ongoing voice in your head, always telling you stuff. Oh no, don't do that. Why'd that person say that? Oh, I'd like that. I don't like this. I like them. Essentially, the ongoing scripture of selfishness, narcissism, the theology of preference. I prefer this. I am adverse to that. That becomes the religion. It occurred to me that if instead of always talking to myself inwardly, which I do inadvertently without effort, I could replace one of those voices with an indwelling God, Jesus Christ, for example. And so when I'm saying, oh, I want this, I'm not good enough, I need that, I'm scared of this, I want that, why won't these people do that? That the voice that's in there with me, I could choose to be Jesus Christ, because it's pretty clear what Jesus Christ is about. Kindness, putting other people first, willingness to sacrifice, always scrutinizing authority, staying clear about what justice is and what justice isn't, and being aware of those principles. You might be familiar. Tell me.
Yeah, and he's made many videos, and he's brought up the ideas of Jesus Christ in a lot of his videos where he's talking about reflection and stuff like that. But then he made the announcement on X. I saw this the other day, and of course I grabbed it, where he said he was going to get baptized. So let's play that real quick.
Die and be reborn. This Sunday, I'm taking the plunge. I'm getting baptized. At the moment, I'm very curious as to what you who have been baptized feel about it, what your expectations are of the event prior, and what it's actually like. What's been explained to me is it's an opportunity to die and be reborn, an opportunity to leave the past behind and be reborn in Christ's name, like it says in Galatians, that you can live as an enlightened and awakened person. Sometimes I think of non-Christian perspectives on it, like Marcus Aurelius saying, you are already dead, now live the rest of your life properly. Or the Buddhist saying, put down the corpse. All of these things seem so inviting and beautiful. I know a lot of people are sort of cynical about the increasing interest in Christianity and the return to God, but to me it's obvious. As meaning deteriorates in the modern world, as our value systems and institutions crumble, all of us become increasingly aware that there is this eerily familiar awakening and beckoning figure that we've all known all of our lives within us and around us. And for me it's very exciting. One of my concerns is I'm thinking about doing it in the River Thames, so I could be getting sort of baptised in toxoplasmosis and E. coli based on what I've learned. So I may be leaving behind the sins, but I might be picking up some pretty serious viruses. Let me know what you...
Okay. Yeah. So he decided that he was going to get baptized, and... You know, he's been on this long journey of trying to find what the truth is. And it's funny because that other video that I sent y'all the other day with the dude who was on Flagrant.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got to the part where he made fun of baptism.
No, I didn't see that part.
It's like a stark contrast where he's like, all that just dunking yourself in water, that's pointless. None of that means anything, you know. And then you hear him talking about how meaningful it sounds to die to yourself and then come up as a new reborn person, you know. But that's someone who is truly seeking for, you know, inwardly seeking God instead of someone trying to seek knowledge.
Right.
Like the other guy who's trying to seek knowledge to prove himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Good for him. Like, I've been watching a lot of his videos too, like throughout the years, and you slowly see him, you know, kind of shifting, you know, and I was rooting for him, you know, in a way, like, man, this dude is really
you could see the potential,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That you could see those glimpses of like he seems like he's ready.
Yeah. Good for you, Russ.
Yeah. So then he made a video talking about the experience, and this is the video here.
Baptized, and it was an incredible, profound experience, and many of you will have had your own experiences of baptism and will therefore know what I'm talking about. Many aspects of it were very intimate and personal. The truth is this: as a person that has in the past taken many substances and always been disappointed with their inability to deliver the kind of tranquility and peace and even transcendence that I always felt I've been looking for.
Now that's key right there. He's talking about how he was in search of that transcendence through substances, which I think a lot of people that get high are like sort of missing that purpose and that connection with a higher power, that they feel like they can use drugs to somehow like trick their body into feeling. You know, people talk about DMT, they talk about LSD, all these things, because it kind of gives them that false sense of like there is more of a meaning to this, and people that struggle with depression and struggle with what is the point of all of this tend to turn to those things. So it's interesting that he is able to bring that from that perspective because he did all that stuff. He went deep into all of that.
Something occurred in the process of baptism that was incredible, overwhelming, literally overwhelming, because I was obviously underwater and it was the River Thames at some points. So I felt changed, transitioned. Now, of course, even though it's been less than 24 hours, in the interim period, I've already felt like sort of irritation. I've got 3 children, I've got a job, I've got challenges, I still live in the world, but I feel as if some new resource within me has switched on. So many of your comments have been so beautiful and encouraging, and I really appreciate it. And also even the cynicism, I understand, because some people will just see me as a celebrity. I don't see me as a celebrity because I was me when I was a little boy. I was me when I was a junkie. I was me when I was poor. I've been me in all of the different phases. But I recognize that anything in this terrain, in the sort of social media world, could be exploited and utilized. For me, I've made the decision, and I know what the decision is. I've made it for myself, and I pray that it will be relevant to my family, in particular my children. My wife's Catholic, you know, she's already made her own choices in this life, including this one. This is new for me. I'm learning, and I will make mistakes, but this is my path now. And I already feel incredibly blessed, relieved, nourished, held. It's been an incredible experience. I wish I could tell you exactly about it because there were amazing individuals involved. There were incredible and bizarre incidents that took place that felt serendipitous and laden. You know, I do a show every day. I'll be talking about this stuff in the show because it's part of my mission and it's part of my ministry and it's part of my service. This is new to me and it's a joy to me. And I know that I'm not expected to be perfect, and I know that that's not something I'll be able to deliver. Those of you that have embraced me, I'm so grateful. I can't tell you how happy I feel and how relieved I feel. But as you know, if you know, my resources are coming from somewhere else and someone else now. Thank you so much for your support. Let's keep doing this together, or certainly I'm just going to do what I'm doing. I love you so much. I'm so grateful to be surrendered in Christ. See you all soon. I'm doing the show a little later. Come watch that if you want to.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Like, seeing him come to that point.
Yeah.
From where he came from.
It's amazing. Only God can do that, man.
Yeah.
And you can hear when he's talking that he knows that he knows.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. And baptism, water baptism, people think it's like just something that you just go through, but no.
Did you hear me talking about the...
No.
You couldn't hear me?
Couldn't hear you. What cut off?
Okay. I was just saying the contrast of that video I sent y'all of that guy talking about ancient history. He was on Flagrant, and he totally like tried to crap on water baptism. I don't know if you heard it.
I did.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you hear the contrast of how cynical he was about it and just turning it into like a nonsense ritual.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I've seen, I mean, we've experienced people be set free.
Yeah.
Coming out of the water, and they're set free from demonic forces.
Well, I told Jake that when I got water baptized, I was 8 or 9 months pregnant with Jake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, I forgot about that.
And that's why he's the teacher, the preacher, the people reacher. I didn't get any baptism. But then, so of course, you know, the people online are cynics. They're gonna, and I'm not 100% sure when he posted this in reference to the other one. Let me see if there's dates on here. So it's April 29th. This is the same day. So he posted this video about tarot cards the same day, right? And people were posting this saying like, see, he's saying he wants to be a Christian, but he's still dealing with tarot cards, you know, and of course, like trying to come at him. And this is, we were talking about this earlier, how this is like a weird kind of thing starting to creep up in Christianity where people are mixing in tarot cards all of a sudden. No, let's watch the video.
Kidnapped and held hostage by some railings. That can't be good news, can it? Oh, it's the old kidnapped and held hostage by some railings card. That's good. That means you are going to get a new puppy. Like, it's not going to be that, is it? Well, actually, we've looked into it, and this card is called the Eight of Swords. And it symbolises feeling trapped and restricted, perhaps by your own convictions, self-imposed barriers that can be shed with an open mind. Do you feel trapped? Are you in a state of anxiety and fear? And can you remove the blindfold to become free? I'm interested, I suppose, in the intuitive reactions one might have to tarot, particularly as I move into a more clearly delineated spiritual space with a more clearly ordained path, i.e. a lot of Christians would say that tarot and even yoga is a kind of heresy. What's your personal view on that? Do you still use stuff like this and the I Ching? Do you still look out for symbols and signs as you move further down a particular pathway? One thing's for sure, that when you get something like that, it does serve as a tool for reflection and personal analysis. Because, yeah, I do feel that if I removed the blindfold or let the scales fall from my eyes, I would see more clearly what the path is. You know, I read today, I think, on Hallow, and, you know, it's an app that I use for meditation. It's absolutely beautiful, that if you focus on God, that is all you have to do. God will do everything else. Now, you hear stuff like that and it sort of makes a bit of sense, doesn't it? And you think, well, all right, so what am I actually worried about now? I'm worried about this attack. I'm worried about this aspect of my family life or this aspect of my personal partnership. You know, like, how do I focus on God? Well, I suppose what that means is I have faith, I trust, I remove the blindfold and see that the pathway of God is the only pathway for me. God is in charge of my relationship. God is in charge of my working life. And I know what God's principles are. Service, kindness, faith, trust, hope, charity, gratitude, acceptance, surrender. You know, so if I'm not doing that stuff, oh, wow, is that 8 swords? Let's just say that one weren't there. Then, you know, if I'm not doing that stuff, then no wonder I'm feeling anxious. What do you think about that? And are you happy with hybrid modalities where you're able to meddle in occultist arts? I mean, is that a pentagram? I'm not sure what kind of star that is, but there's some questions. Are you happy to use hybrid models from woo to Q, as I heard Duncan Trussell once say?
So he brings it up, but he's bringing it up in more of a question, like, is this something that we shouldn't do? And he also brought it back to, like, if you trust God and if you focus on God, that's all you need. You know, so it wasn't as like...
We do have a song like that called Grateful.
Hey, we do have a song called Grateful.
You're all I need.
You're all I need.
You know,
said,
people,
let me lead you.
People don't, especially trolls on, you know, on social media, they're not gonna watch that. They're gonna see, oh, he's holding up tarot cards, and they're...
So it becomes, again, like this idea of the hyper legalistic Christian that's like, you even displaying that on screen is demonic, and you know, we have to be afraid of even seeing one of those cards in our presence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was telling Jake that I did talk to this one Christian guy,
and
he was saying to me that I shouldn't be teaching.
Yeah.
Oh, because you're a woman?
Well... What do you think about that?
And then I said to him, goodbye. No, he said, what else did he say? He said a lot of stuff. It was like, don't listen to that guy. I told him I was listening to David Wilkerson. I like him. He said, don't listen to that guy. He believes in healings and in miracles. I was like, wow, this guy's legalistic.
Yeah.
You know? So I just said to him, goodbye. I'm sorry. I'm not interested.
Yeah. Legalism is definitely a thing. But yeah, so of course a lot of people were trying to use that as an example of like why don't listen to him. He's still confused, blah, 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 blah. But he said in the video before that, I'm new to this. I'm figuring it out.
I'm not going to be perfect.
I'm not going to be perfect. And he even brings up the tarot cards as like, is this something that we can gain something from, or do we just look at God? Like, what are your thoughts? What do we do? Is it the occult? You know what I mean? He's asking the question, which is, I don't think is a terrible thing.
Yeah.
No.
Thera said, find my way. Yeah, find my way is another one. Find my way is another one.
Yeah, I mean, obviously tarot is not something you should dabble in.
Right.
That's right.
It's picking up a lot of steam lately because, darkness. When people aren't grounded in anything, they're going to go for it, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think you do need that. You do need that grounding in terms of the spiritual world, right? Or the spiritual realm, I should say, not world. And a lot of Christians, especially in the charismatic realm, they get off into goofy stuff.
Yeah.
Or crazy stuff because they're not grounded. Grounded in what? Grounded in the Bible, grounded in the word. They're not reading the Bible.
Yeah.
So then they say, oh, God showed me this. Oh, God told me this. And it's like, you sure God told you that? Because if it doesn't line up with what the Bible says, then maybe he didn't tell you that.
Yeah. And you see that a lot in, especially like you said, in charismatic or Pentecostal type situations where, and a lot of times it's women that want to give a word or want to have a prophecy, and it almost gets into the tarot card kind of vibe.
Magic.
I mean? Yeah, where it's like telling you your future kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which never kind of like felt right to me.
No, it doesn't. It feels dirty.
Yeah.
It feels almost insecure.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels dark.
Right.
Or like, to me, it always feels spacey. You know what I mean? Like there's it's like it's just grasping at stuff,
And I think that's what the tarot card thing does. It opens you up to that realm of the occult, because most of the occult is just hidden knowledge, right? That's what the occult means. Like it's just trying to find a way to control things by gaining knowledge about what's going to happen. Whether it's through like Ouija board as an example. What do people do the Ouija board for? To communicate with something so they can get information.
Yeah.
And it opens them up to these dark energies. Same thing. Tarot is the same thing. You're communicating in a way, trying to gain information so that you can have an advantage on your future, instead of trusting God. All these things cut you off from trusting God.
Yeah. It's just like, if you want to know, I want to know the gossip. I want to know what this person did to you, what they do. So what they do. Like when you want to know all those things, like you want to set yourself to judge in a way where you're not able to really judge. Like truly, because who that person really is hidden in Christ. Right. Their actual identity.
Yeah.
Right? So it's interesting because everybody's grasping for knowledge. But the more you know, the more you fear. The more you know, the more insecure you are. The more you know, the more anxiety you have.
Right.
The more you know, because knowledge without
always learning. never coming into the knowledge
of the truth.
Right.
The knowledge of the truth is what we have to come into.
Mm-hmm.
Knowledge of the truth sanctifies us or cleanses us.
Mm-hmm.
That's holiness. And that knowledge is what sets us and grounds us,
Mm-hmm.
right? In what? In Christ.
Yeah.
Right. So we're like when you're just grasping for knowledge, you don't know where it's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, again, you're just grasping at the wind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're grasping at the wind and you have no grounding.
Yeah.
You're not setting yourself in anything. You might even think you are, right? You might think you're setting yourself, but again, use the wind again. The wind comes and knocks down that house, right? Because you never really set it on the rock.
I saw a video that describes that perfectly today on X, and it was hard to watch. It was a dude who was parasailing, and he had one of the things with the big fan behind you, and you're like flying in the air.
Yeah.
So think about that. Your ability to fly is set off of the wind, right? Because you're able to create that draft that then fills up that parachute that you can now fly through the air.
Mm-hmm.
But then this one gust of wind comes and twists the cables up, and he 50 miles an hour falls 85 feet and breaks his neck. And he's got GoPros all around him, so he's filmed it from multiple angles, and he posted it up, and you just hear him like screaming. But that's what you're like, literally what you're saying made me envision that, where it's like the wind can just shift on you, and you really have no foundation there.
Yeah,
it's a false sense.
Not grounded.
Yeah, you're not grounded.
You think you're secure. Right?
Yeah.
I've done all the things I need to do.
Right.
I've set all the things that I think I need to set. Right. But you can't account for everything.
Right.
And it's so freeing when we say, I can't account for everything, but he can.
Right.
He accounts for everything, right? So I can give myself over to him and I can be a child. I can be a child.
Yeah.
And being a child, I don't have to be responsible for everything. I can give it to him. Everything I don't know. That's why I even said you're responsible for what you know.
Yeah.
But it's because he gave you the knowledge, right? He gave it to you. Why? Because he wants you to be responsible.
Right.
That's true raising up. Just like our kids, like what we teach our kids is so they can become responsible, right? They can come alongside of us. They can help us. We lead them. Oh, I want you to do this. I want you to do that. Right.
And we don't hold them accountable for what they don't know.
No. I'm not going to expect my 7-year-old to drive a car.
Right. Right. Exactly.
That would be pretty dumb.
Yeah. That's funny.
But he might think he could drive the car.
Yeah.
I'm like, go ahead and drive. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Doesn't even make, like, that's stupid to do that. But how many people are dabbling in things that is actually very foolish because they don't know what they're doing, but yet they'll get in that car.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's foolish.
All right. Let's play one more video. We'll get into the other stuff next time, but I want to play the Ariana Grande video because that's wrapping up like right along the lines of what we're talking about here.
Okay.
So set this up real quick.
I mean, she's talking about her new album.
Do you believe in that? Like,
she actually went into doing tarot cards. She was doing it with this guy too.
Yeah.
And then she talks about, I'm not going to give it away, but she basically talks about what she dabbles in.
What she dabbles in.
Which is
right.
what
But she believes in God.
Well, in her own type of God.
But she said it. I've heard her say it in interviews. You know, she's a spiritual person. She believes in God.
God is a woman, so.
Right.
She said that?
Yeah.
I wouldn't put that past her. Okay.
God is non-binary.
Do you believe in that? Like, is there something to, when you're making music, just letting go to the universe and or wherever your brain will go and just seeing what happens? Because we have like artists come on the show and like there's a few different schools of thought, but like one artist may say like I write 100 songs and that's how I become a good songwriter. And then Chris Martin comes on a bunch of times and preaches about how the universe gave him Viva La Vida and he just like opens himself up and it just beams from the fucking sky.
I love that.
But is there an in-between anywhere where like craft meets the universe?
Yeah. I'm somewhere in between. I've learned. I don't know. I said some.
Man, I gotta say, like this Ozempic thing, you can just see it all. Like, have you been seeing these posts of all the celebrities on Ozempic, like what it's doing to them?
Yeah.
And there was a guy on Diary of a CEO who's like an expert on it. I haven't watched that yet, but I want to watch it. I
saw some of it.
You did? He's supposedly he's talking about how bad it is.
Yeah. It's. Well,
we have no idea what the after effects
He
of this
still
is gonna-
doesn't really know.
Right. They won't know.
Yeah.
How bad it is going to be for people. But one of the worst things about it, I don't know if you've heard this, like, because it's a diabetes medicine. So now because they've prioritized selling it to all these celebrities, the people that actually need it, they can't get the drug.
Wow.
It's for regulating your appetite. So
weight loss.
For diabetes, like so that you can regulate your weight and stuff like that. Yeah. Like they're like, see how skinny she is?
She was always skinny. You think?
Dude, not that skinny.
Not that skinny. Yeah.
Not that skinny, dude. They're all taking it right now.
Yeah.
Somewhere between being a literal witch, I'm not kidding.
Is there an in-between anywhere where like craft
Absolutely.
meets the universe?
Yeah. I'm somewhere in between. I've learned. I don't know. I said somewhere between being a literal witch, I'm not kidding, and being like the most realistic, cut dry, like, you know?
Yeah, totally.
I don't know. I feel like I'm my most productive when I am open and also when I pretend no one's ever going to hear it. That's when I'm my best, I think.
At what point in the process do you have to be reminded that people will hear it?
When it's over.
Got it.
And then I backtrack many steps and I clean things up and I figure it out. Just kidding.
It's interesting. We've been seeing this trend lately with all of these female celebrities, especially like they've reached to their status, Taylor Swift, Beyonce, and now her, openly coming out and saying that they're witches and involved in witchcraft and, you know.
Wearing all red.
Wearing all red is another thing. Yes, absolutely.
They all did that.
Yeah.
Rihanna. Alicia Keys.
Well, Rihanna didn't say she was a witch or Alicia Keys, but she did wear the all red.
They both wore all red.
Yeah. Lady Gaga's done it. And we know Lady Gaga used to run around with what was her name? Marina Abramovich.
Yeah. What's the dude's name? Wore red at the Super Bowl.
Sam Smith?
No. The Weeknd.
The Weeknd, yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, there's something to it.
But I mean, she's literally telling, we just said it, right? We were just talking about.
She said, I'm not joking.
Being open to everything.
Right?
Yeah.
To the spirit realm, right? To the spirit. And what spirit?
Yeah.
What are you tapping into?
What are you allowing in?
What are you allowing in?
So then what is your music pushing? What is your music opening up for other people? Mm-hmm. If you're just open to anything.
Well, she's telling you what she is now, right?
It's funny because we have a song called Open.
Yeah.
But it's the opposite of all.
Yeah. What are you open to him?
Right.
Right. So many people aren't open. How many people reject?
She's one of them.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Because they're not open.
They're not open.
Because they want to do what they want to do.
Right. And it sounds better to be open to all the things that are going to allow you to do what you want to do and still be able to claim, I'm just a spiritual person. I'm just very spiritual.
Yeah.
It's that voice. Spiritual.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me.
Can we go into? We only got 2 more videos, right?
How long are they? I don't know.
Well, the one
because we're already at 2 hours and 17 minutes.
Because it goes along with especially the next one.
All right, let's
Yeah,
go.
he's trying to just, and I feel like, and I've really never even been able to explain it.
So Nick Cannon is talking to Lovey in this video,
who is
he's a guy that you used to follow.
That I used to follow, but some of the stuff
you started like
I started realizing some of the stuff he was saying didn't really match up.
Right.
It wasn't mathing.
Right. And we all were like watching his stuff in the beginning.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of stuff that I was kind of like, this stuff is starting to get a little weird for me.
Right.
He's an ex-music producer, right?
Yeah.
Artist.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he comes from that realm too.
Yeah. And so he calls himself a prophet. Yeah. And not really sure about that.
Right. He's from Africa.
Might be some mixture going on, in my opinion.
Yeah. Especially when you look at who his mentors are and his spiritual father.
The
and
connections he has. Definitely not with the connections he has.
Yeah.
And then even some of his teachings, especially the people he's sisters or spiritual sisters or fathers with.
Right.
Yeah, their teachings are a little
So he's sitting down here on Nick Cannon's new podcast called, what is it? The Culture? What is it?
Council Culture.
Council Culture.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just trying to and I feel like, and I've really never even been able to explain it, but I feel like I've always had a solid spirit of discernment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and like even how you put it in the sense of like, whether it's in your gut or like, I'm that guy that like, I walk in the room like, yeah, that's the energies, I gotta go. Or like, even like and you know, I've always accounted that to like the anointing or just, but clearly how you operate is at another level. But even what you said earlier, like we all have the ability to hear from God, but like even just having or just even being able to walk in the spiritual realm and be able to see and know based off of just, as we call it, energy or spirituality. It's just like, I feel like that's something innate that I've had, but I've never been able to even explain it as clearly as you put it. But it's just like, I've always said, you know, like it's whether it's God's favor, whether he's like, I've never heard an audible voice from God, but I always feel like I could feel it. Like, and that's even as a, you know, from my studies and stuff, and just based off of communication, nonverbal communication is probably the greatest communication
it's true.
on earth and beyond. We're the only beings that need actual verbal communication.
Actually, it was, sorry to cut you, but it was never really like, that's not how we were intended to communicate.
Yeah.
If you know scriptures, you'll know that, like you said, and I was saying this yesterday, maybe I was teaching some people and I was telling them that, you know, for you to have to make a sound to communicate is actually very primitive, because spirits don't talk like that.
Yeah.
You know, they literally give you an experience of, they impart information, so there's no confusion. See, even if we're talking about like the dark realm, right? When we're talking about devils and all, they don't fight amongst each other because there's no miscommunication. Because expression, you see, Jesus said Satan doesn't cast out Satan, meaning they don't fight among each other. There's no miscommunication because they speak spirit to spirit. We have a lot of miscommunications as men because we speak from the place of my experience, my pain. There is an inability to truly relay what is going on with you verbally. You can come to a certain understanding, but we can read the same thing and get two different things.
Okay. That sounds like a whole lot of nothing.
Let me get this right. He's saying that we weren't created
to communicate
verbally, but we made in His image, and He created everything
through
words. And Jesus is the Word.
Jesus is the Word.
Yeah.
That's why
in the beginning God said, "Let there be light." Even when He said, when He made the comparison, the devil doesn't cast out the devil. Did He say that because they don't fight amongst each other? No, He said that because they were trying to say that He had a demon. That, I don't know, like that. First of all, if he had the good discernment, someone would have told him that his outfit is looking real tacky. That doesn't. Can we talk about that discernment?
Come on. But I mean, going back to Nick Cannon.
Yeah.
Like, to say you have good discernment, again, that doesn't make any sense.
When you look at the fruit of his life.
Right. And when you don't know, you don't actually know. It's the difference between, you can say God, right? But what God do you serve? And you're going to know that real quick based off of how you're living your life.
Right.
And when you think that things are okay, and when the word, the word, right? The things that are said, because let's go back to what's said.
Right.
When the things that are said are there in your face and you deny them, that there's a problem. You're contradicting yourself, right? So how can you discern something when you contradict yourself? You're literally putting yourself in a space of a liar.
Yeah, I think he's minimizing what discernment is and boiling it down to, like, I feel energies when I go places. Like, that's what he said.
Yeah, maybe.
Right.
Yeah,
but he also said, like, you know, I feel like it's he said something about anointing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's part of his anointing. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so these things get, I'll say, deflated, or
he's probably equating it to how successful he is, you know.
And that's the thing. Like, when people have success, they will look at that as like an anointing on their life. When they have worldly success, they will equate that to well, I must be blessed. Look at all the things. Look at all the things I've done. God is obviously giving me favor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you know.
I think that's definitely a part of I'm special type thing, right? But we're not. God shows no partiality to anybody.
Yeah,
we're blessed because we are faithful.
Yeah,
because we trust Him.
Right.
And as you trust, it's kind of like the scripture that says that you exercise your senses, right?
Yeah.
Having exercised your senses, that's the meat we eat, right? You exercise your senses. How do you do that? How do you practice your senses, your spiritual senses? You love people.
Yeah, I was gonna say you go through things.
You love people.
Yeah.
And as you love people, you're gonna have to go through things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
As you love people, the thing is, like, the reason why people are able to have gifting spiritually is because you're like, all right, God, what do you have for them? How do you see them? Right? What are you saying right now?
Right.
And then He'll show you something. But it's in the purity of what your heart truly do you truly desire for them, or do you want to show yourself off?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
But as we truly learn how to love people, then our discernment starts to rise, because discernment is about recognizing what the truth is.
Yeah.
And if you don't focus on the truth, you can't be set free. And to be set free is to be sanctified. So holy is connected to discernment. You know what I mean? Like, if it's just like the counterfeit. I always say this, like, you don't find the counterfeit by focus on the counterfeit.
Yeah.
You find the counterfeit by focusing on the real thing.
Right.
So you focus on God.
Spend time with the real thing as much as possible, and then the counterfeit can never fool you.
Yeah, and that's what goes back to what the other guy we were just watching got baptized.
Oh, Russell Brand.
Russell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that goes back to like his thing with the tarot cards, right?
Yeah.
It's you don't need that anymore because you trust Him.
Yeah.
The more you learn how to trust Him, you let go of those things, right? The things that you thought served you, you recognize they don't serve you. He's the only one that's going to serve you.
Yeah.
He actually came to serve you.
Right. You start realizing how those things are counterfeit.
Right. And service has to do with responsibility. So because God loves us, God serves us. It's like a father. Like our kids, we serve our kids on a daily basis, right? You serve them because you love them.
Yep.
Right? So I'm going to do everything, but the service isn't, I'm not serving them because I'm subservient to them. No, I'm actually more powerful than them. I'm actually more knowledgeable than them.
Right.
Right? So I serve them in that way. And then when in appreciation, my kids submit to my service, right? And then as they submit to that service, they come into what I have.
Right.
And that's what God does with us. That's how we work with God. We come into what He has. And to me, it's opposite in terms of what He's trying to say.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's more like, oh, I'm special. Like, in a way, I just came to this.
Right.
You know? No. And He could have things that God has put in Him. There's songs that people write that they've come from a vulnerable place and they're really in their heart seeking to know the truth, right?
Yeah.
And they can come into truth by seeking to know the truth. And they'll write these songs that are genuine, right? Because God can speak to us, obviously.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that you're not going to truly know God and have discernment. That's a lie. Like you're not going to get it until you submit yourself to God, and you sanctify yourself in Him by seeking Him. And you seek Him through reading His Bible, reading His Word, and the Holy Spirit is the Spirit of God is the one who sets you free.
Right.
Right? The Spirit is a realm. The Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's freedom. So it's a realm. You have to submit yourself to that, right? Jesus is a dwelling place. You have to submit yourself to that. The blood is a barrier you have to step into, right? God, the love covers a multitude of sin.
Yeah.
So we step into that love, and then we're covered, right? Now we have union with God. We can't have union with God if we're in sin. And that's my thing with Nick Cannon. The dude's doing what he does, whatever he wants. Like we talked about that on the podcast before, right?
Yeah, plenty of times we've shown clips from him.
Yeah, just in terms of a sexual, promiscuous, like no matter what agreements you have and how you've set that up,
right, to justify it with these women.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. God, like, think about it. God comes into covenant with us.
Right.
It's not a contractual agreement. It's not like, well, if you hold up your end of the bargain, then I'll hold up my end of the bargain.
Yeah, that was we talked about that. That was one of the things that Jake said at y'all's ceremony.
Yeah.
That, like, when he said that, I was like, wow, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
The covenant is not a contract.
No.
Because a contract is if one person is in breach, then the contract's over.
Right.
The covenant is I got to hold up my end of the bargain no matter what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A covenant is God keeps his promises.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
It's interesting because when he tells and the blood is what seals. Thank you. Is what seals that covenant.
Mm-hmm.
So what does God say to Israel? He says, if you will repent, if you will turn back to me, if you will return to me, I'll remember my covenant with you.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yep.
So so forgiveness has to do with blood, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're like, but they weren't forgiven in that way with blood. Yes, they were. They were already forgiven through the covenant.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he remembers what he did through Abraham.
Right.
He remembers what he did through Jacob. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, and he remembers it. And then what did Jesus say? Do this in remembrance of me, right?
Right.
Take this cup. This is the whole communion thing.
And that was the new covenant.
Right. This is the new covenant.
Right.
So the blood covers and love covers. And that's the strength. His life is our strength. It's not we give up our own life. His blood represents his life, which represents, because what does it say in John 1? It says, in him was life, and the life was the light of men. So in the blood is life, right? Because the life is in the blood. That's the light of men.
Right.
So we can't see God without the blood, right? We can't see God without the blood. We can't see clearly without the blood. That's where we get our discernment from, you know? So again, if you're in sin, you're doing what you want, and then you're like using the Bible in a way where you can justify yourself, you're twisting things.
That's manipulation.
It's manipulation. It's witchcraft.
Yep. It's tarot cards.
It's the same thing, right?
That's what I'm saying.
But you see that, so you're seeing this. That's why it's so hard for celebrities, because celebrities, the way they've been groomed is
you're special.
They're propped up.
You're
right?
a star. I mean, it's in the phrasing.
Exactly.
Celebrity. You're celebrated.
Right.
You know.
But we celebrate Jesus.
Right.
It's totally different.
Right.
I mean,
but listen to what Russell Brand was saying in contrast. He said, "You see me as a celebrity, but I'm not a celebrity."
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
Right. But even with us, like, think about how much deprogramming we had to do.
Oh my gosh, we're still doing it all the time.
I'm saying just like, not even really quote unquote making it in the industry, but just the little bit of success that we've had. Like you still have to learn how to you still have to humble yourself to God and let him deprogram you from that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Big time.
You don't realize how much you're just a narcissist or
you're
selfish.
Fed into that. Yeah. All right. Let's wrap it up there. I don't know. The next video was just what? Him talking about.
It was just basically the same thing. Him talking about how God told him
to be fruitful and multiply. Basically.
In a way. Yeah.
I mean, Solomon had 1,000 concubines. They always go to that.
Basically, like he'll be a God. He'll be a father of many.
Yeah. He's the new Abraham.
Like 16.
He's got 12.
He's got 12.
He might have more by now. I don't know.
He's Nick Cannon Abraham over here. That's funny.
A lot of child support.
Fathering nations.
Abraham. Remember that song?
Yeah. Father Abraham had many sons, and many sons had Father Abraham. Yeah. All right, guys, let's wrap it up there. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching. As we do every Tuesday, we get into these discussions and we talk about things going on in the world, things in culture, celebrity, politics, relationships, marriage, all of that stuff, all from the standpoint of our belief in Jesus Christ and how we have, like Jake said, we have had a lot of deprogramming that we've had to do and a lot of spells being broken. And that's why we talk about these things, because we know that all it takes is for one person to be like, oh man, I never saw it that way. And then a spell could be lifted off of them as well. And leading people to Jesus that way and letting them understand that that is the answer for all of these things that we are bringing up, and to not be fooled anymore and be manipulated. So if that's something you can get behind, make sure you guys support what we do. Go to patreon.com/youngliontv and become a member over there. Sign up for as little as $3 a month right there. You can become one of the members, and we have all different tiers for those who want to support at different levels and help us keep the lights on here, help us keep this thing growing. We want to put some more, funding and marketing into what we do here on the podcast too, because we know if we can do that, it'll reach more people, and we can continue to grow the Pride of the Young Lions, and then we can do more events. We can even stream more often. We can do community meetups, all these kind of things, and incorporate it into our live shows. It would be great. But we need the support in order to do those things. So if you want to do that, head on over there and support that way. Also, if you want to just throw a donation like my mom does, you can hit the Cash App on $YoungLionTV. Also, we have the merch shop where you can get all of the Jatan merch and Young Lion merch is available on our store at jatan.com/shop, where you can see all of our merch options there ready to go. But yeah, other than that, stay tuned for our show, a live show at City Winery in Philadelphia if you're in the area, July 26th coming up. Get your tickets now so you can get some good seats, because the front seats always go fast. So get yourself some tickets to the front row right there so you can be right up on the stage. It's going to be a fun time. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and share the video on your way out, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Young Lion, go live, yeah. Young Lion, you rich, yeah. This